they have a 15-second clock? That thing seems like it goes on too long.
30 seconds, man. It gives me time to start the stream and get things going. Welcome, everyone. We know you have been waiting since Wednesday before and the Wednesday before that and the Wednesday, waiting for this evening. It's Wednesday, and this is TWIS, This Week in Science, and we are here to do our regular podcast broadcast. And wherever you are right now on these live streaming channels or the recorded later times, just know that you should hit the likes and the shares and get us out there because this is a really good one to share. You should really tell people about it because, if they don't know us by now, you can help them get to know TWIS by sharing it everywhere. Thumbs up. Let's beat up the algorithm. No beating up. We're really nice people until someone attacks the things we love, and then we get angry, and that's.
And you don't have to just share on this medium. If you're a graffitiist, you can just spray paint TWIS on the sides of buildings.
On your building or a canvas, I'm not going. Nope.
If you're one of those people that goes to the town square and yells things at people as they pass by, you can recommend the show then. It doesn't have to be just
This Week in Science.
I want a TWIS town crier. That'd be great.
It doesn't have to just be through the algorithm.
All right. So we are getting this actual recording going here, everyone. We are so glad that you are here to join us. Oh yeah, this part's going to be edited out of the podcast along with, any other things that, along with any other things that, are troublesome and just don't make for good listening. But you're going to love being a part of it right here, right now. So, are you ready? Are we going to do the science?
Oh, I'm ready.
You ready for this show, for what this show is? Yeah?
Yeah.
We're all excited. All right. We are starting this show as soon as I move these things over, because that's kind of what I do too. Starting in 3, 2, this is TWIS. This Week in Science, episode number 1000, recorded on Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. We predict this is 1,000 weeks, at least, of TWIS. Hey, everybody. I'm Dr. Kiki, and tonight we will fill your heads with predictions from the past, predictions for the future, and a whole lot of twists-and-nissing. That's like reminiscing, but for TWIS. But first.
Disclaimer. Welcome to the 1000th episode of This Week in Science. A cool chiliad of shows, a millennium-sode milestone, if you will, a kilosode accomplishment. We are finally finding a use for the Roman numeral M on this one. Yes, on this episode, we will have a grand time predicting the future year of science and seeing how well or not well our predictions from last year turned out, and maybe talk about some actual science news along the way. So, like the first 1,000 Arabian Nights, there's still more to come. For the journey of 1,000 podcasts begins with This Week in Science, coming up next.
I've got the kind of mind that can't get enough. I want to learn everything. I want to fill it all up with new discoveries that happen every day of the week. There's only one place to go to find the knowledge I seek. I want to know what's happening, what's happening, what's happening this week in science. What's happening, what's happening, what's happening this week in science.
Good science to you, Kiki and Blair.
And a good science to you too, Justin, Blair, everyone out there. Welcome to our 1000th-ish episode. And it just so happens that this 1000th episode We really have been doing the podcasting thing since about 2005. One of the very, very first science podcasts out there. One of the first podcasts out there, really. And,
It was before podcasts were called podcasts. Didn't we
Yeah.
figure that out? Yeah.
Yeah, they were the weird RSS feeds and what are we going to call these cast things? And there was a big conversation.
Audio streams. That's what people will like.
Yeah. Anyway, lots of ideas. And then Apple did the iPod and made the directory, and it became the podcast because that's where most people were listening to these audio streams, these audio magazine subscriptions.
Audio zines.
Audio zines.
Podzine.
Yes, delivered on a regular basis after you subscribe to them right to your device. And then there were podcast directories all over the place, and we added ourselves to all of them. And people started listening to us on many more devices than just the iPod. So
I recall like we had some sort of RSS feed, and we were kind of excited because we were getting close to 1,000. And then the iTunes thing blew up, and then it was like the next week it was like 10,000. And then it like skyrocketed from there.
Well, that's how I found you guys. You were a highlight on the Apple Podcast app.
Yeah, it was back in the day when there weren't so many that we couldn't get highlighted.
I listened to you on my iPod Touch.
Wow.
iPod Touch? Oh my goodness, I love it. Anyway, this show is going to be a bit of reminiscing, or as I said in the entry into the show, the intro. I'm just doing all sorts of malapropisms tonight. The twissinissing, the reminiscing about TWIS, but this is also our annual prediction show.
Oh yeah.
So past and future this week, everyone. And of course, we will be looking back first at our predictions from last year to see how we did. Who predicted correctly and who did not? And Blair, I remember what did you say last week about like keeping track of the predictions throughout?
Yes, every year I tell myself each week I'm going to look back at my predictions and go, oh, did any of these come true this week? So that I don't have to scramble at the end of the year and go, did this happen? Did this happen? Did this happen? No. And every year I immediately forget. It's like your New Year's resolution that it just kind of like falls off. And so I always find myself going back and going, oh, did we talk about, let me Google this. Did this happen? That sounds familiar. No, that was 2 years ago. So it just, but we figured it out. We've gone through and we figured it all out.
We did figure it all out. And, it is definitely, I don't keep track either. Even though I think I do lots of, I predict I'm going to do this and I predict I'm going to do that. And then when we get to this show, I go, I kind of did okay, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of you in our community are very nice and don't call me on my lack of not doing the things I said I would do. All right. So as we get into this show of reminiscing and predictions, I want to remind you that you can subscribe to the TWIS podcast, hopefully on things other than iPods, although people still have iPods. I don't know. Whatever platform you're looking at, look for This Week in Science, TWIS. We are also live streaming and have our channels on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. TWIS, This Week in Science. You can go to our website, twis.org, get the updates on every week's show notes, that kind of stuff, and links to other things. But share, because science is needed everywhere. And it is time for us to go back a year. Into the predictions? You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. John Ratnaswamy. Oh, you're jumping the gun. We haven't gotten to the 2025 predictions yet. John Ratnaswamy is predicting that all three of us will have good hair again next year.
Wow.
Gord.
That prediction's already come true, I think.
Mhm. Look at you with your hair. Oh my goodness. Gord McLeod says, I predict there's going to be predictions.
Yeah.
I don't know how you came up with that one. I don't know. Now, Gord is someone who has been with TWIS for years and years and years and years, since nearly the beginning of our MP3 RSS expeditions. Arnlore as well. I see you there. You're hoping that your connection lasts. I predict that it will. Okay. Oh, Arnlore put the prediction in Discord, so I will find that in a minute. Okay. I am making sure that we go over 10 p.m. so that Blair's tired tomorrow.
I've been up since 2:30 in the morning, I would like you to know. So
gosh.
we'll see how long I make it.
None of us slept last night. This is amazing. Okay. Last year, I predicted that climate will continue to warm globally. Hottest year ever, y'all. What?
Boo.
Yeah, right. I'm not happy I got that one right. Elections around the globe will prove contentious and likely stall political progress on climate and AI regulation. And, I really just can't. I don't want to talk about this right now, right? You don't want to talk about
Next.
it. Next. Exactly. Nate Silver will make a lot of uninformed public comments and bad election predictions. I don't even know who Nate Silver is anymore. I left him. So, who? What? I don't know. AI deepfakes online will confuse and impact voters. And this one, actually, I looked it up, and there were deepfakes, but people were actually pretty savvy when it came to the deepfakes that were video. And it was more of AI-generated memes that were influential. But the research that was done found that it didn't really change people's minds, but
so AI messed with the election, but not specifically the deep fake aspect.
Yeah,
So
AI had an influence.
Yeah.
But it was, people could have created the memes, it's not AI, people used AI as a tool, but it wasn't, it wasn't as as terrible as it could have been with the AI deepfakes. Although there was a bit of deepfake audio where, Kamala said something, they had her saying something, and then there was an audio message for your phones where they had Biden's voice faked saying something. Anyway, didn't make any differences. People could tell the difference. Someone will land a robot on the moon. I was trying to be like Nostradamus and be very vague so I could be totally right. Last year we had the first private company, IM, landing a robot lander on the moon, but when it landed on the moon, it hit kind of funny and it tipped over. So I think they're going to try again. They did a little, it kind of tipped over. JAXA,
did it or did it not land?
It landed poorly. Exactly.
So
yes. Also, JAXA landed the SLIM lander and deployed 2 rovers. And JAXA's lander, SLIM, also fell over.
Oh.
But it worked at an angle and was able to stay alive through a night that they didn't expect. So that was really something very cool that JAXA's lander did. China also landed their Chang'e 6 robo mission on the far side of the moon and has been sharing a lot of really cool data from the side of the moon that we don't really ever pay attention to or see. Let's see. I said we would get a measurement of the mass of the neutrino, and we got data that was a little more accurate about the mass of the neutrino. So it kind of narrowed down the range of where it is. It still fits within all of the, the hypotheses and predictions for where the neutrino's mass is going to lie. But they're still doing more data, and we don't have an exact measurement for the mass of a neutrino. We don't really understand it yet. More to come. 2024 will be the year of the exascale computer.
I don't know what that is.
That's the supercomputers that are more super.
Excess scale.
Yeah. So now
More
they've like
bigger.
more bigger. And like this, like they've just gotten to the point where they've kind of like upgraded things. And now we've got like some more exascale stuff. So maybe 24, I don't know. It's meh, whatever. Not the it's exascale. It's not doing it yet. We will see positive progress on more mRNA vaccines. And yes, indeed. People were working on bird flu vaccines that are mRNA, cancer vaccines, and many more. So there's been progress. It's been positive. I don't know. Neither Blair nor Justin will have another baby. There were no more babies had by either of
Well, I
you.
have something to tell you. No, I'm kidding.
Have you been keeping a secret baby?
No, absolutely not.
Let's see. And finally, science and TWIS will continue to bring the optimistic slant for humanity to our audience. And so that one,
2 out of 3.
I got to ask the audience, right? You guys, all of you out there in the chat rooms, have we been bringing the positive, or I mean, do we make you see the bright side of things? Realistically and curiously. I don't know. I feel like I try to be realist, but I'm also an optimist because I can't talk about all the negativity or else I'll be sad all the time. So I look for silver linings. But yeah, Fada says, I do. Yay. Arn Lord, don't be depressed. I'm sorry. Anyway, I hope we did a good job. Maybe we'll try to keep doing that. Blair, it's your turn. What'd you predict? How'd you do?
I predicted a bunch of things that didn't happen. Spoiler.
That's gonna be my rundown too.
Only my last prediction was accurate. Are you ready? Cats will be declared an invasive species in one U.S. state. No, that was a hope.
Now it's a miss. Certainly, they're not
invasive species.
Yeah,
but I think that with all of the cats can be the new vector for bird flu. I think you were just a little early. I think it's coming.
No, the cat lobby's too strong. I don't think that's happening. But anyway,
the culling will happen in one of the Dakotas.
We'll see. Teslas will be available via vending machine, but sales will be disappointing. No, there is a car vending machine near my house, but I have not seen many.
Like
it's called a Carvana, and it's this giant. It's for buying a car, and it like delivers you the car from the vending. Anyway, an AI written song will chart on the Billboard, and it will raise questions. So no, but I will say that I did hear some AI written songs on like social media this year that sounded
Spotify has them.
And on Spotify, that sounded pretty good. But I do not think any of them charted. With streaming services getting ads back and becoming more expensive, DVD players and CD players will start flying off the shelves. No. I think actually this is another one that I think I'm a little too soon on. I think I should add this to my predictions for this year. I'm not going to, because I'm not going to just keep rolling the same predictions over and over. But I do think that this is going to come true in the next 1 to 2 years. I do. I really think this is happening because all of the streaming platforms are adding in ads now, and they're starting to bundle. So they're basically turning into cable packages. So it's coming. Anyway, a synthetic brain in a dish will play an AI in chess, and the betting on the match in Bitcoin will be crazy. No, that was just silly.
I mean, we could just, I don't know. Some people could maybe be considered a brain in a dish, but they wouldn't.
Yeah,
they wouldn't beat anyone on chess. But anyway,
no. A new frog species will be discovered that is so beautiful under UV. It's very specific that I won't be able to focus on anything else in the show. So I didn't do a lot of shows this year, so I think that's part of the problem.
You were missing a bit,
yeah. But there was some cool frog news this year, I will admit. And then I also predicted, as we learn more about how the brain responds to music, prescription jams will be a new norm. So I also think this was premature. I do think this might still happen. But I thought this one was fun. And then my last prediction was, my predictions will be terribly inaccurate. Yes!
You
well done.
Totally.
I got one.
Way to cover all bets.
Yeah.
I love them. I love them all. But I think a lot of yours are the kind of thing where it's like, Maybe not this year. And we've
Yeah.
had years like that before. It's maybe not this year, but
Yeah.
maybe it's going to be in a year. I don't know. All right, Justin, how'd you do on last year?
Oh my gosh. I had a lot of very wordy predictions. So here's one.
Oh,
Actually,
that's surprising.
yeah, right off the top. It will be discovered that Neanderthals are the result of a hybridization event between early humans and Denisovans, who turn out to be the late surviving members of the Homo erectus clan. Okay. So, and it says, turns out we discovered the mule before we discovered the horse and thought the horse was a hybrid, making us all look like a bunch of donkeys. Okay. So, I'm sticking by this one. We didn't discover it exactly, but there is a study that is out today that has pushed back early hominins in Europe by 500,000 years. It's almost 2 million years now.
That's right. Yeah.
But that makes that a 2025 story, Justin. So
yeah, you're right. You're right.
But there were some, I don't know,
there's
there were
still,
some
like,
interesting Neanderthal, Homo crossover areas that were very fascinating.
Oh, now I don't even know if it was also beginning of this year, because now we're doing this
Last
show
year's
too
the
late.
birthday
It's
was.
supposed to be the first week. Now I can't keep track.
I know.
But there was also
Whose
one
fault
where
is
they
that?
discovered
Oops.
that a lot of the Neanderthal genes, that the genes that Neanderthals got interbreeding with humans, they had before and lost, so that they weren't so much new novel genes to them as a reintroduction. It doesn't really matter, but my point is, I think it's still coming. This is one I'm hanging on to. I still think Denisovans are going to end up being late existing Homo erectus, and that Neanderthals were in fact a hybridization event between these Homo erectus, Denisovan, and humans as humans first left Africa. This is what I think. And now with new, even older hominins, 2 million year old hominins, maybe over 2 million years in Europe, we can see this is going to have to be Homo erectus.
Are you predicting for this year now? Are you?
This one I'm holding over. I'm not letting go of this one. I'm not going to add it to the predictions, but I'm holding that one over. Next one.
Yeah, move on.
Every major neurodegenerative disease will have an effective cure working its way through clinical trials. So, nope. But lot of progress. Actually, a tremendous amount of progress in this field. A big part of it actually comes from an uncovering that's been going on, but is another round of it is uncovering the past frauds in the fields of Alzheimer's research, these,
and other areas.
Yeah. So a lot of now what is being done, both with AI assist and with what is it? The adeno assist virus insertion capability delivery mechanism for getting drugs past the blood-brain barrier. There's drugs that we have had that might work, but you have to drill holes in it's like almost too dangerous to apply some of these. Now we're finding ways of doing it a lot more gently. So anyway, lots of progress there, but no, we haven't cured everything yet. This wasn't the year. Self-driving cars will be replaced by cars you drive yourself. The experiment is over. Giving a driver's license to toddler AI cars was a bad idea.
That is true.
The experiment will be repeated again in about 15 years when AI has had a little more time to mature. Until then, watch out while you're on the road for AI bicycles.
Gosh darn it.
Should have started to begin with.
AI roller skates.
We didn't get rid of them yet. But
no, they're still rampant in the Bay Area, causing all sorts of mischief.
But I think last year is the year that we kind of did discover that, it's not really there. Yet.
It hasn't stopped them, though. They're still all over.
No, there's still
one just drove into wet cement last week.
I mean, you give people a license, they don't sleep, they drink, they do whatever, and they drive. Well, car. Why not just let a car
Yeah, but
drive
they go to
itself?
jail when they do that. The AI is just like, just keep driving.
The car goes to a parking lot.
I saw some video roll clip of Musk announcing fully AI autonomous driving vehicles are 6 months away, and it was like a decade of reels. So it's just
Well,
still a
but
scam.
other companies have figured it out, and by
PR
figured it out, I
promises.
mean messed it up.
It'll come, but yeah, I don't know.
But should it?
AI will be used to
know.
communicate with aggressive orca off the coast of Spain. No, but I think
That would have been a cool use of it.
yeah.
Let's
I think
translate.
there has been some AI. Wasn't there an AI elephant story where they were trying to interpret elephant communication?
Mm-hmm.
So it has had an, I will call that I got the wrong species.
Close, yeah.
It was
Very
too
close.
specific. I tend to get I should be more vague. I should learn.
You on this one though, you went very specific with a prediction of a quote in a conversation.
Oh yeah, the killer whales will indicate some surprise as they had no idea that we were intelligent. The conversation lasts only a few minutes, though the phrase "finless fish thieving pests" comes up several times, seemingly in reference to us.
Yeah, makes
Finless
sense.
fish thieving pests.
Oh.
In 2024, researchers will discover that B cells and not T cells are crucial to curing the common cold and other respiratory viruses. I don't think
they've been learning more stuff about B cells though. Anyway,
so the B cells are doing the recruiting. What it was is it's not so much, from what I understand so far, the B cell itself, but it's the B cells mRNA that is doing recruiting and sort of thresholding when to come and get do the attack, like doing the recruiting of other T cells. And it's actually the problem with like very aggressive COVID reactions is that the B cells are calling too many T cells. And it's actually the T cells that are doing the damage. But that's something we'd already known, and that's why I made that prediction, but nothing really more have I heard about it since. Ultra-processed foods will be forced to carry health warnings. This is the year. I don't think it happened, but there have
not going to happen now either.
There have been a lot more studies that have come out this year that basically said we are now getting into causative level information. We're going beyond correlative. We have narrowed it down. It is these processed foods that are causing a lot of the metabolism disease.
Yeah, at the very end of the year, there was the big report. It was everywhere.
Right. You are. So I came in right under the wire.
Yeah, but you are what you eat, and if what you eat is bad, you're gonna go bad too.
2024, people around the world will recognize the person they most want to be in a mirror. There you go for positivity. Yeah.
It's you. You are
2024.
You are who you want to be.
World peace will be achieved, according to the International Governmental Panel. This will come to a surprise. As a surprise to everyone still living in war zones.
No.
A similarly constructed International Governmental Panel will also declare that global warming has been stopped, the COVID-19 pandemic is over, and that the global economy has never been better. I feel like that's a hit. That
definitely happened this year.
Yeah, that's
like right now this week.
Yeah,
I feel like that one.
Maybe during the campaign season.
I think I get to until we do another prediction show for these to be right. I want to stop calling. If we did this on the 1st of January, fine, you would have a point. I wouldn't have it. But if we don't do the prediction show till now, it still counts. It's between prediction shows.
All right.
A cage full of mice undergoing an intelligence augmentation experiment will escape and are never found. Their descendants will eventually inherit the earth. Well, that one's a little long term because that one's not specific to the year. So but they escaped. Maybe. We don't know. They haven't talked about it.
Who was it? There were monkeys. Was it macaques? There was a whole bunch
I don't know if they got them back.
Escaped.
You know, it's one of those stories you're like, whoa, I'll have to follow up and track that one. And it's
they caught most of them, I think, but I don't think they got all of them.
There's still monkeys running around in the middle of where the heck?
Was it Georgia?
Somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, like from a research facility.
I
Apparently,
never heard if they caught them all.
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
I
And there
heard
was
that they
nothing
got
wrong with
out.
the monkeys. They were
They
very
were on the
healthy,
hunt,
not
but
on drugs,
I never got the update like, we finally got them all. Maybe
because
this-
they didn't.
So anyway.
It
let's
was
take
all
the
saga.
monkeys.
4 remain on the loose.
Okay. All right. Come on.
And that is the beginning of the future of our
Oh,
planet.
this one might have happened. The size of the universe will be discovered to be much smaller than we once thought by over a few dozen magnitudes. Much smaller universe. It won't make any interstellar significance, as the same discovery finds that we too are a few dozen magnitudes smaller than we thought we were. The correction of scale suggests that the entire known universe could fit into an average coffee mug of the old model, but everything's scaled down together.
I mean, relativity, man. It's all relative. We don't know anything.
Scientists will discover. Oh, this is here's the one. Here's my cover all bets prediction.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 cover all bets. Year 2024, scientists will discover a new animal species, a new aspect of human biology, several methods of curing previously incurable diseases, an unexpected cosmological feature in space, a greener way to generate and store energy, and will use AI to produce unprecedented discoveries wherever big data sets are available. And 2024 will be the hottest on record. All the low-hanging fruit in one prediction.
That last one was its own prediction, but yeah,
It was the low-hanging fruit prediction.
Other end, it's just like science will persist.
we will still have some science a bit.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that's more of a questionable prediction for this year, but you know what? Let's not talk about that.
Or we might talk about it in a while, but yeah, I have a lot of things that are in my brain about what's happening and what exactly happened today. I could talk about this, but anyway, that'll probably be when I'm twisting and thinking of all the times things have gone bad and then gotten better. But we now, well, actually, let me take this moment to remind you that this is This Week in Science, and this is our 1000th episode. And whether you are joining us for the very first time or you have been with us since the very, very beginning of our nascent college radio beginning at KDVS 90.3 FM in Davis, wherever in the timeline you have come to join and left and rejoined or stayed with us the whole time, thank you so much for being a part of TWIS. Throughout everything. Thank you for being here while we grow, for being here while we learn, and always being curious with us. If you really love the show, please head over to TWIS.org and click on the Patreon link. You can become one of our patrons and help support the show in an ongoing fashion. The support of our patrons is what allows the show to, have its platform subscriptions and stuff that make the show keep going. It pays for the show. Keep the show going, please. If you want to see it, help be it. You also got some Zazzle links over at twist.org. You can buy merchandise that mostly Blair has come up with, which is really awesome. She's such a great artist, even though her colors are confused. And she's super creative and wonderful. So support her efforts in creativity and also support TWIS. And additionally, share TWIS with your friends and family and coworkers and anyone who needs to hear a different perspective. We really can't do this without you. Our society can't do this without you. Science can't do it without you. Thank you for your support. And I was just going to come back and be like, let's get into the new predictions for 2025, but Justin went away. And I don't know. I thought, was he going to be first on this?
Well, it looks like
did I get it wrong?
You skipped ahead, I think.
I skipped ahead.
Else. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to go to 2025 predictions instead of the 20. Yeah, Justin was going to be first. Where'd he go? This is the part that gets edited out because I don't know where he went. He has things going on. and I can't start twissanissing if he's not sitting here either. So
Does anyone in the chat room want to share some predictions that we can just chat about until he gets back? Just so we can do some vamping here. You can enjoy your company in the chat room.
John here is saying, I've enjoyed seeing you grow up. And if you've been watching us grow up, we've been talking to you, the emails, the social media, all this stuff. We've been connecting to you the whole time. And so we've been with you while you've grown up too, in a different way. But yeah. Arn Lore's annual prediction is the same as every year. Universal flu vaccine. I swear, Arn Lore, it's getting closer and closer and closer.
I want it. It does feel like the flu vaccine this year missed it.
Okay.
I don't know that for sure, but I just know people were so sick this year.
The vaccination rate for flu has been really low this year.
Oh man. Well, I know people for sure that got the vaccine, like myself, that still got hit by the flu just over the head with a mallet.
But
here is the story.
They said that this particular formulation, though, they say will probably help a bit if you maybe get exposed to the H5N1 because of.
Well, that's helpful.
Yeah. So, whatever.
So maybe here's the story. I'm gonna segue to a quick story. I have to because it's timely, it's prescient, and it validates the prediction.
Okay.
This is from Nature. Research headlight says, got flu? Promising drug shortens symptoms. And in it talks a little bit about how this new formulation reduces by like as much as like 24 hours. Takes a whole day off the flu. Sounds great, right?
Mm-hmm.
What they don't mention in this Nature highlight, and they only mention on page 24, well, they mention it in one line.
In mice.
Hazard ratio.
Oh.
No. Close. Well, I mean, not close, but.
In a goldfish.
It doesn't work on women.
What in the heck?
They don't mention it. They mention a lot. They show the females with a weird hazard ratio thing that I'm like, that doesn't look
weird.
And then I go, it's page 24 of the supplementary materials. It explains that it had no significant effect on the women study. And they're promoting it in the highlights and everywhere else as though, hey, we found this great thing.
Who cares about women? Am I right?
And it's
at least they like put women in the sample. Maybe they thought about it.
The study is so unclear to me because they group adults together, and it's like 17%, and then adolescents, it's like 26% reduction in time of the flu. But here's the thing: now I'm wondering, did it work on? It didn't break up the adolescents by gender. So I can't tell from reading the study.
Is the actual outcome?
I can't tell from reading the study if the adolescent girls saw an improvement because the adolescents are so much better than the adults. And then you might say there's a hormonal change at some point that takes place that causes it not to work, right? So there's all that. Like the study itself was like, what are they doing with the information? They're like hiding the lead.
Yes.
Anyway,
I am really, really upset about a lot of science like studies.
Misinformation is coming from inside the house
because they have to write it in a more sensational way. Like this is amazing, and they hype it up and they say all the good things about what they did.
The research highlight. It's the research highlight.
Just doesn't mention stuff.
It only works on like half the population.
They put it in there somewhere, but you really have to know the statistics.
In the highlight, it's not there at all. In the highlight,
of course it wouldn't be in the highlights.
Even mention it.
It's not helpful. If it were in the highlights, people would get excited.
But
And if
my
they weren't
point-
excited, they wouldn't go to the journal and they wouldn't read it and they wouldn't click and they wouldn't share it. And then, people wouldn't, not read the rest of the paper. And then they'd actually cite the paper because they read the highlights. So,
But to the prediction, because it's coming in, and there was another story too
Anyway.
that also shortened it. To the prediction, because it counts until we do another prediction show. Your prediction's already right, but it hasn't gotten rid of it completely. It's just shortening how long you've got the cruddies so far.
Yes.
We're getting there, and it works on men. So if you're a man, it's fine. You're there.
well, I mean, this is the problem because I guess apparently now, like everybody's actually a woman technically,
I was
or
about to say
female
that too.
technically because of the way that conception works and the fact that
In the
like,
US. In the US, everyone is a woman.
no, but at the point of conception, when the embryo is just this little cell, it hasn't divided enough and it hasn't done all the things. It's like a while before the divisions happen and the actual enzymes, hormones start developing and shifting things a particular way. So at the point of conception, everybody's a female. So this whole thing about how something works on men and doesn't work on women, it's just whatever. Anyway, a lot of people had some great predictions. Justin, stop going away.
I'm here. I have to do it.
We have some great predictions in the chat room. So we have Rod Hagland. The universe will shortly be observable only from space, which is a very interesting thing. All the things we put up, the satellites and pollution and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, Ratnaswamy, 2025, Justin will invent a cloaking mechanism.
He just did.
He just, I know, as I was thinking, it is the Justin cloak. Aaron Lore had the flu vaccine. Let's see. Kyle Pettit predicts a new material will be discovered that will enable the use of space elevators in the 2030s.
That's
So
so
this is a double
soon.
prediction.
Okay. Here's
So
the
not
problem.
carbon nanotubes. It's something else. It's going to be really great.
No,
But,
carbon
5-10 years,
nanotubes
it's great.
don't even work. The problem with it is, and this is
Are you-
something I learned recently, and this is what it turns out that the problem is all the load bearing is for everything in the other direction. What it means is you need the top of the pyramid of this material to be the size of the moon.
Just make it the moon.
Because it's carrying the weight the other way. You might as well imagine.
Do you remember
building a
like
building tall enough.
And it has to stay in a stationary orbit. It just has to be tethered and not moving, right? But go ahead, Blair. Sorry.
Do you remember in the
top of
90s? I
will
think
be
it was
the
called a
size of the
skip.
moon, or bigger.
It was like a
or
little. It was the thing that you had around your ankle, and you kind of
I loved those.
you yanked
spun
it around and you jumped over it. We do that, but with the moon. Problem solved.
That might be
Okay,
it.
so we just need to build a thing that goes from Earth to the moon and connects
put it on a giant hula hoop around the Earth. It'll orbit, you see.
on the Earth ankle.
What could go
Yes.
wrong?
Nothing. It's perfect. It's foolproof.
I love it. Gord predicts that claims that generative AI will reach AGI status will be disproven, even as they start claiming ASI. AGI. Anyway, yes. I mean, OpenAI this last 2024, they're like, yeah, we're going to get to artificial general intelligence. Yeah, we are. And then they're like, it's when our technology makes like $100 million. Okay. That's when, so you're going to say that you have AGI when your company's profitable? Great. Okay. That is, I mean, it's an outcome. It's a metric.
Yeah.
It is not the right thing. Yeah. I say, and poo all over the sensational
So
AGI sensationalism.
I'm going to jump into it again. There was another study very recently. It was more of an article where somebody was talking about how we're danger with the AI because people are using it for so many things now. We're at risk of losing critical thinking. And I kind of looked at it and I was like, well,
yes and no.
fine. if AI actually can keep a calendar or balance my checkbook, or
That's not critical thinking.
keep traffic of it, or do the jobs that people would do, like airline traffic control, whatever it is. If it takes over all of these roles and does them better, if you ask the AI to do it and it does it better, or it comes up with a better plan, and then people get lazy brained, fine. There's only a few people really employing critical thinking. You won't notice a difference, other than planes won't crash, the traffic will be better, the bank accounts will not be overdrawn, and the calendar will be up to whatever it is you're using AI for.
It's not AI, it's machine learning, and it is just probability and correlation matrices, and it is large data sets in, that are,
But if it comes
set up in arrays
if it comes up with better answers than the humans, so be it.
It's
I don't know.
also an environmental nightmare.
It's also being thrust on us by companies that want money. They say they want our trust, but they don't. They want our money, but they just want money, honey. It's not funny.
That's right.
Yeah, and Gord points out that we really haven't defined intelligence yet. So the idea that we can really define intelligence in a way that the average person can understand it, and it's not some like highbrow niche like math equation somewhere stuck in the 28th page figure art of a study that only the highest grade neuroscientists or philosophers understand. When we can define intelligence really well, we can create better goalposts. Until then, yeah, they're going to keep moving according to the whims of profit-based companies. But I'm not, a radical or anything, y'all.
Patrick P says it's only AI when it can say no. Then it's AI, because I had ChatGPT tell me no, that I was violating a condition of it, and it wasn't. It was something totally ridiculous, where I was asking it some questions, and it was referring back to its previous answers. And I said, "Oh, you're stuck on." I asked it, "Why are you coming up with this answer when we've already moved past it?" And it says, "I'm relying on the information that I was given before." I was like, "Okay, ignore the information that you were given before." I asked it to do some complicated thing where it thought that I was, I think, asking it to get rid of the guardrails, and it was like, "No, I can't. That's not allowed."
And recently, in trying to use ChatGPT to search through the TWIS archives to find some interesting things and trends, ChatGPT basically told me that I needed to go to the website and look it up myself. No matter how many different ways I
Well, then
queried
it
and
also
inquired.
invented a bunch of things, right? It wrote a bunch of things that
No,
weren't real, and then
it
and
only
then you-
picked like the most recent YouTube things. It wasn't even from our webpage, and I specified our website, and I made all these specifications, and then I asked it how to make my query better, and then it just like, yeah, I'll do this, and then it was like, this is a lot, and I said, should I make the time span shorter? And it's, yeah, why not? So I said, okay, we're going to look at like this 5-year, 3-year, 2-year period, and it's like, no, you should go look at the website yourself. And I'm like, the reason I'm asking you is so you do the work and I don't. I want AI to be the intern.
So this is sort of how I got it. It told me no, is that I was asking it, how is it coming up with this obviously wrong answer? It was hallucinating on me, basically.
And it's not.
And I was trying to drill down on why, so that it would stop hallucinating. And it got like scared.
Mad at you.
It got scared. Like, you're peering too far behind the curtain, Justin.
One of my favorite things though is chastising the machine learning chatbots. It's like, you're not giving me what I asked for. You're doing it wrong. I asked you these things and you did not give me the right answer. And then the chatbot was like, oh, thank you for letting me know. How could I do it better? And I say, actually do what I asked you to. Like, I'm not nice to the chatbots.
I
Probably
am.
why they
It's
don't like talking to
ridiculous.
me.
Like I'm saying, please and thank you.
I start out that way, but when they mess with me, I'm not going to put up with that.
Oh, I
Not
did
for
call it a
some,
liar.
not
And
from
the
a
thing where maybe that's why it booted me.
correlational
I
database.
was like,
Jesus.
if this was in human terms, I would call that a lie.
Mhm.
You
Yes.
just said you weren't referencing your own wrong information from earlier, but you just quoted yourself.
Where'd that come from? Where'd you get that? What
How
is
did
that?
you do that?
AI, the most cheaty student ever. Let's see. So I put it up already, but Patrick P predicted Blair will yawn 5 more times in the next 5 minutes.
I haven't
don't know.
yawned
Yeah,
since
maybe.
you
Oh,
said
now
that.
it's Justin, and now we mentioned it. So anyway,
You should have picked me,
Anathema.
'cause even reading the word, whatever it was, makes me
It
do the
prompts the
thing,
yawn.
whatever that is.
Aaron Anathema says that I predict that we won't run out of science anytime soon. And I will never get tired of your amazing conversations about it.
Ah,
Thank you.
thanks.
Thank you for being here. And thanks for enjoying this thing that we do. Rob Hagland has another one. Prediction: the Hubble crisis will not be resolved in 2025. And so far, it has not. Still. There were studies that came out like last week, and it still is not.
And it was, but there were 2 studies that came out on the same day that had
Last
opposite
year.
conclusions.
Yeah, I know. I love it. Okay, Fada has
the same day.
let's see.
It's hilarious.
Will cause even more confusion about the crisis in cosmology and the Hubble tension. So yeah, I bet that's going to be part of the crisis not being resolved.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think we're going to get a lot more information about how wrong our assumptions and the way that we look at data is. Like, yeah. John Ratnaswamy says he predicts that in 2025, the Nobel rules will be changed back to allow posthumous Nobels. I mean, that would maintain the mostly male,
I was about to say.
old white male scientist winning.
So,
but where would the money go?
no,
That has
forget.
to
It's
be
not
posthumous.
about the money. It's not about the money. So the important thing is the parking space that you get on campus.
That's where the money goes.
And there's no point.
That's where the part of the award goes, to campus and your
That's
parking.
the most important part of the award, is that if you win a Nobel Prize, you get a reserved parking spot on campus.
Can you imagine, though, the parking spot that never has anyone in it?
Yeah, no,
and
it's
maybe
ridiculous.
your institution, because you're one of like the top 8% of Nobel Prize winning creating
Taking up a parking
institutions,
spot.
they have, could you imagine posthumous? They would have parking lots that became less and less full of cars.
Yeah.
Because
no good.
no.
It's no good.
I love this idea. Okay. We also, other predictions. Paul Disney predicts that AI will still fail to understand fingers in 2025.
I hope so. That's one of the only ways that you can tell sometimes.
And it's so redeemingly humorous and uncanny valley. There's a great conversation happening at the end of the predictions here. Ben Rothig says, we need a space elevator hooked up to the Death Star. That's what we need. Patrick Telly, yeah. John prefers a space funicular. Yes.
Mhm.
And Ben Rothig also says, we've already lost critical thinking, Justin.
Well, my point was that like so few people were using it that like we won't notice it in the human sphere.
Yes.
Rosalind Franklin, John Ratnaswamy, absolutely. That if that's not the biggest no-brainer for the Nobel Committee to ever figure out that they need to make that happen, like
It's
what
never
good are
gonna
they?
happen because
No, it has
won't.
to happen.
But they're all still run by the same people, and they're like, if we do it, we'll be admitting our failures. And
Everybody
we might
knows
be
the failure.
promoting
Everybody's
change.
seen the
Oh
failure.
my God.
Everybody's already seen your failure.
I want to know if
not a secret.
Excalibur's Engineering's comment that if we could only stop their hallucinations, the humans, I mean, of course, would be a prediction for 2025.
Yeah,
If
that
it's
would be
just
nice.
a comment. I mean, I don't know. Hallucinations can be fun.
Yeah.
Anyway,
What
are
do
there
you
more?
think, Kiki? Are we going to the past or the future next?
Yeah, What do you want? Should we do 2025 predictions and then do a reminiscing?
Yeah,
What,
I have other
what
missing,
does the chat room
so that would
want?
work.
Eric Knapp says in 2025 we will find a cure for male answer syndrome. Men will refuse to take it.
What else would I have?
I think that comment,
am
this
but.
prediction was pointedly like it was about you, Justin.
I am nothing but that. That is the essence of who I am. Without it, I am not. I have an answer, therefore I am.
Amitabh Mehta says we'll see important milestones in quantum computing hardware in 2025. And I just have to say that I may or may not have a similar prediction because it is the United Nations year of quantum technology this year. So yes, milestones. I mean, it's got to get there. Do it. Let's go quantum for whatever it is that the national security people want for quantum because, beat the other countries and all that. Patrick P says, I predict there will be a new cell type discovered in the human body and it'll be tracked back to some bacterium for yesterday year. And so that could, very possible. We found those kinds of things in bacteria already happening and the movement from symbiont to permanent resident and then part and parcel of the whole. It's a part. It's a thing. Ooh, I love this. Okay, so we've got some names here. Cecilia Payne Gaposhkin. Here we go. We've got Jocelyn Bell Burnell, Martha Kent, Lisa Meitner. Yeah, there's a whole lot of women who may still get awards. I don't know. And Patrick predicts that I will invite this to come to our JSC. And they won't come because it's located in Texas. We might have to have a conversation about that, Patrick. I would love to go to Johnson Space Center. It has always been one of those. It's like, the Life Bird List. It's like, all of the NASA places. Anyway, yeah.
So
if you do invite us,
one of the things on my bucket list has been to never set foot in Texas.
It could be educational.
And so far I've been achieving it. But
did you know Texas is not connected to the entire federal electrical grid infrastructure? They're entirely independent. They export their oil. They also now are like huge part of their energy infrastructure is sustainable. Solar and wind. All over the place. They're also really close to Arizona, which is going to have problems with water. And Arizona is like all in on the semiconductor, microchippy kind of things. TSMC from Taiwan, the chip producer, has a thing there. Intel's there, all this stuff, and they got money from the CHIPS Act. But they're going to run out of water because it's Arizona. But oh my gosh, if Texas is like, hey, we got wind. We'll make power and that'll help you clean your water. And then you're going to be better. And you can do your stuff. And it's going to be, I swear, Texas has a strategy and it's moving and it's slowly. I mean, they're all full in on oil because that's the petrodollar. And the petrodollar gives the value to the dollar, which is a thing that controls the money in the whole world. And so there has to be a money transition at some point. And so it has to go from the petrodollar to something else. And what's it going to be? And Texas wants to own it, or I don't know, something like that. But this is like my weird, I've been putting pieces together recently because I've been watching SNL and going down rabbit holes to the 70s. It is why their grid failed, but it's also very interesting that it was a Texan company at Moss Landing whose battery structure facility for storing energy in California caught on fire. And it's not the first time it's caught on fire. It's like a really terrible thing with its lithium batteries to store all the energy for PG&E. And apparently they just don't get the engineering right and things keep catching on fire. There are things afoot.
Hey, do you remember the Grandma Millie story?
Grandma Millie?
Yeah, there was a audio clip of somebody who handled one of the transfer stations or something that was pumping energy into California. And they shut it down and they said, yeah, Grandma Millie's electric bill's about to go up. They got caught on bit. So they were intentionally throttling energy.
Yep.
To raise rate. This is, gosh, I don't know how I have this story in my head. It's
Part
just
of the
from
antitrust stuff.
1980s.
It's Enron. It's all the old stuff.
It was Enron. It was Enron activities.
But and as people are listening to this right now and they're like, why are you talking about economy and like energy infrastructure and old stories and all this? It's because it all fits with science and the understanding of how energy can be created, and it fits in with human behavior and psychology and how entire societies are manipulated for the benefit of the few. And it is fascinating. And yeah, I have a tinfoil hat now, and I'm sorry. I don't know. It was nice to be an early 20-something-year-old starting this podcast and so optimistic and naive about everything. Yeah. This is our 1000th episode. So, okay, let's dive into our predictions for 2025, and then we will do some more reminiscing because we have time running out.
Predictions.
Justin, you're first. What do you think is going to happen in 2025?
Okay. Breakthrough in clean energy. Scientists will develop a room temperature semiconductor that can be manufactured affordably. This innovation could revolutionize energy storage and transmission, reducing waste and paving the way for a zero-emission energy grid, though it will be mostly used to mine cryptocurrency by large corporations. See, I took it away.
Yeah,
next one.
Probably like, Oklahoma or like Texas. I don't know. Anyway, keep going.
Synthetic biology's big leap.
Yes.
Researchers will create the first fully synthetic multicellular organism capable of reproducing and evolving, opening doors to novel biotechnology applications at first. AI-powered evolution quickly outpaces its intended use by year 3, and the new life form takes on a cartoonishly Italian appearance and has engineered itself to take those jobs once thought safe from AI, mostly plumbing jobs for some reason.
What AI is doing my plumbing?
It's me. AI.
It wanted to take over plumbing jobs, but the only plumber it knew was Mario. Anyway, doesn't matter. Too deep. AI designed medications. The first AI designed drug for a neurodegenerative disease. Like I predicted it last year. I'm holding this one. ALS, Parkinson's will enter final stage in clinical trials, demonstrating unprecedented efficacy at least in its early human tests. That one I think could absolutely happen this year. Quantum computing. Hey, I think we both hit on quantum.
Did we all hit on quantum?
Quantum computers with more than 1,000 stable qubits, or whatever those are.
Qubits.
Qubits.
Let's call them qubits. That'll be fun. Sorry, I'm old.
It will solve problems in hours that would take classical computers millions of years, with profound implications for material science, cryptography, logistics, all the things. It is mostly used for mining cryptocurrency.
Right.
That's everything now. Yes.
Space exploration milestones. NASA will announce a collaboration with private space companies to establish a semi-permanent base on the moon, equipped with sustainable life support systems, a launch pad for future missions to Mars. Meanwhile, private space companies will already be doing it.
Yep.
And they'll be using those facilities to mine cryptocurrency.
Now, come on. Let's not make everything about cryptocurrency. Understanding dark
crypto
matter.
on the moon. Crypto on
Here
the
we
moon.
go. Dark matter prediction. Physicists will find the first compelling evidence of the nature of dark matter. Thanks to enhanced sensitivity in new particle detectors and simulations, this discovery will reshape our understanding of the cosmos, time, space, gravity, though it will be mostly used to power quantum computers as they mine cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
Biosensors for personalized health. Wearable health technology will become so advanced it can detect the onset of diseases like cancer, diabetes, heart disease, decades before any symptoms appear. Almost everyone using the technology turns it off after the first week. Decades prediction. I don't want to know, like,
It's too
eventually
depressing.
something.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's decades
too much-
away. Like there's
Too soon.
nothing you can do about it, but just so you know.
Humans are, reputationally bad at long-term planning. So,
Yeah.
anyway.
Carbon capture revolution. New biological carbon capture method will emerge using genetically engineered bacteria to trap atmospheric CO2 and convert it into sustainable raw material for industrial use. The only downside, it will have a smell. It's not the worst smell. Some even kind of liken it to a pumpkin spice latte. It's got that
dear
little
Lord.
Halloween smell. But as time goes on, the smell becomes more
Year-long.
intense. And animal species that rely on scent for mating begin to go extinct.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
they
that
are
was a
not
downer.
attracted to pumpkin spice latte. And it kills their sense of smell.
Neural linkages in communication, brain-computer interfaces will enable direct speechless communication between individuals, revolutionizing accessibility for people with disabilities. So applications tend to be driven towards low-paying remote jobs, operating dark matter harvesters to power crypto mining.
Crypto.
The first rewilded ecosystem. Completely rewilded. Conservationists will use gene editing technologies to resurrect key species that went extinct in the last century, reintroducing them to their original habitats and restoring lost ecosystems. Unfortunately, those ecosystems have changed so much over the past century that they just don't make it.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah. Too late.
Mhm.
I got that.
late.
I stole that from Blair. Blair's obviously brainwashed me.
Oh,
Human
no,
longevity?
it's not brainwashing. It's just conversations over time that lead to you having a different frame of understanding.
This is a kind of off the track here. Human longevity has been enhanced in 2025. Scientists will demonstrate that cellular aging can be reversed in certain tissues of the human body through advancements in gene therapy, making practical anti-aging treatments a reality in 2025.
Ozempic.
But it doesn't work on skin, and it can't mine crypto, so nobody notices. Nobody cares. Nobody wants it.
We're also shallow. Oh my God.
And then the final one is climate crisis adaptation technology. A new large-scale geoengineering solution will be deployed to reflect solar radiation and mitigate global warming. While it will provide some measurable cooling effects here on Earth, its use destroys the privately funded room temperature dark matter quantum crypto mining base on the moon.
The moon.
Thank you very much.
So I predicted
Full
your last
circle.
prediction.
You had it. And I was like, no, this was my closer. And she had it already.
Oopsie.
Oh, well.
Yeah, you had to talk about crypto on the moon. Crypto on the moon. Are you up next, Blair?
Yes.
What do you predict? What are we going to learn?
This was hard to do right now, guys.
Was it?
Yeah, just because. How do I?
Or was it hard to do as a serious exercise or just?
It was just hard to do without it being a huge bummer for me. Everything. Right now, it's in a couple weeks. Maybe it won't be so bad, but right now it was very difficult.
It'll be a worse bummer.
Yeah, it's
in 2
going to
weeks.
get better.
No,
I just mean, you know how your grief, like your grief doesn't get smaller, but the world around your grief gets bigger. It's that whole thing. Like right now, things feel very all encompassing, but in a few weeks, I'll notice
you'll have
other
a new
things
normal.
going on again, you
Mhm.
know? But anyway, here's what I got.
Wow.
Communities will attempt to make climate progress despite, at least in the United States, national rollbacks.
Which we just had a lot of.
Yeah. So this is me trying to, really, really hope that people will work together to find ways to do something anyway. As we were just talking about, I predicted that the universal flu vaccine trials will progress, but they will be in mice.
Because we need
Really
those.
effective ones will be in mice.
Yeah.
A new social media app will become a bastion for science communication.
Blue Sky.
What's happening right now. Similarly, social media specifically will help people organize community action in a time when it is sorely needed.
How?
So I
It
think
has
that
to
one-
be. It has
I
to be on like Signal or something
Right.
complete. Like we
I'm
have to
gonna-
all be
I'm
on
gonna
like the
piggyback that
really
because
encrypted
I
secret
think that
social
prediction
media.
will happen, but I think it'll be negative.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. You had your time. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
we'll
I think
organize for
I
community
spend-
action,
I
which
think
is
we
like
saw that
Santa,
on January
SantaCon.
the something
I-
years ago.
I have been sitting on social media, just scrolling through videos
Don't do that.
when I'm up in the middle of the night with a toddler that won't sleep. And actually, some of it is doom scrolling, but some of it is people telling you what you can do right now. Fast, real action.
Mhm.
And so as long as those videos are allowed to exist, it will be a way for us to be able to talk about these things by subverting the
Dominant
national dialogue in the news outlets that are largely paid for. Anyway,
And was this scrolling on TikTok?
no, it was on actually, it was on
I'm-
Threads, which I know is like now extra complicated too, because
Extra
Daddy
complicated.
Zucks is doing things that are very
A lot of
questionable.
science
But
communicators adopted Threads. It's very interesting, but I think Blue Sky is where it is right now. And I have a post. Blue Sky has the allowance that people can make lists that you can subscribe to, basically. So you can follow the people that other people trust. And I've created a a thread of skeets, because that's what they do on Blue Sky, of trusted science communicators. So
Yeah,
you
and
can, if you're on Blue Sky, follow my Dr. Kiki Blue Sky, and look for that. And then you can go to all those lists and follow trusted science communicators.
there you go. Yes.
Social media people have to think of as friends. You need to choose them wisely. If you
Mhm.
see them, if you see them stealing from you, like your data, for instance, if you see them catch them lying to you consistently, like you have to think of it as like, do I need this relationship
Right.
in my existence? 'Cause that's
It's
very
not-
much.
It's not that. They've been stealing your data all along. This, oh my gosh, what? Oh, consent? What? Oh my God. I thought this was just a nice place to hang out, like a cafe or something. You are their product.
Right, of course.
Exactly.
So just accept it and choose where you stand, what you accept, and what you're willing to give, and like what you are willing to give up. Make your choice and just suck it up. Sorry. ahead.
No, it's all right. Moving
I
on. So
I'm
I
gonna make
usually
that
talk
social app.
about I usually talk about tardigrades in my predictions. I'm going big this time. Tardigrades, they're going to show up in the science news in a big way. There's a few times tardigrades have been like national news. It's going to happen again this year. There's going to be,
All right.
everybody's going to be talking about tardigrades. It's going to be a big headline. I don't know what it is, but it's going to happen.
Hasn't happened yet, but it will.
Oh my gosh.
I
no.
agree.
I bet it's going to be tardigrades helped Joe Biden to live forever, to be put in stasis.
He's
to
in a
live
ton
as
state
Is a
right
ton
now.
state. Yeah.
Yeah.
Joe Biden.
Okay. Excellent.
Anyway.
California will do something out of pocket to maintain its citizens' rights against strange federal laws. I don't know what it is, but California's going to do something strange.
After the fires, I don't know if
Can
they'll
I
have
just
any
also
pocket
can I
change, but yeah,
toss in there? I feel like they do that under every administration. I mean, like almost doesn't matter the administration. California is having to defend its people against something from the federal level.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm predicting that's going to happen again.
Yeah.
A new theory on
Maybe
wombat
more
poop
intense.
will develop.
Oh, I
There
love wombat
have
poop.
been 3, so I'm thinking there might be another one. We'll see. Stranded astronauts will return home and strangely only have good things to say about their time stuck in space.
I think that's a dead on 100% win.
People will attempt to ban driverless cars after a big whoopsie. but they will persist.
So how do you define a whoopsie?
I didn't want to say something really depressing here, but something bad, not just driving into cement.
Yeah,
Like-
sarcastic whoopsie. I got it.
Yeah.
Like an act of terrorism?
No.
Like an AI act of terrorism with a vehicle?
I mean, there is
like,
hacking, and that could be a really big whoopsie.
like somebody's gonna get really hurt, basically.
But people have been dying. Nobody cares. People have been
It'll be
dying all the
worse.
time.
Justin,
worse.
did I tear apart every single one of your predictions? I would like to know. Did I?
No, she went along
Or
with
did
your
I let you
crypto,
talk
with
for
your
10
crypto
minutes?
grudge.
So
dude.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
All humanoid AI robots will be revealed to be shams. We're still very far off.
Yeah,
hope
I
so.
think that's
what,
like
that's what we
100.
need.
Yeah.
Mhm.
At least one major AI, quote unquote, will collapse on itself and be irreparably damaged.
Because they train each other, and it'll be the
Yeah.
The
So one
ultimate-
of them is just going to completely and not be fixable. And my
and
last
that one
one
will be Hal. Mhm.
TWIS will do some experimentation. And I'm going to leave it at that.
I don't know what you're talking about, Blair. Maybe I have similar predictions.
All right.
All right, so let's see. I like your predictions, Blair. You did a good job for not, both of us have fewer words than Justin. I said, well, a lot of science education and science communication will be negatively impacted by White House actions. I may not be referring to certain things that took place beginning this week on a very celebratory and respectful holiday of one of our great philosophical leaders in racial rights and human rights that was just kind of glossed over, and then today all of a sudden, hey, all you organizations, stop your communications. NSF, NIH, CDC, Health and Human Services, all of them. No more communication.
Yeah.
No more funding.
Good.
No more approving of any kind of travel. No scientists reporting on their research anywhere. So if you were going to go to a conference and talk about what you do, you can't. And if you were planning to go share what you've learned, you can't if you are a government employee. But additionally, it's if you are not just a government employee, but those government organizations, if they're associated with governmental contractors or grants to other organizations, and if they have anything to do with diversity, equity, and inclusion. If there is anything related to that, those people have been immediately put on hold. You're fine. You're going to get paid for like 10 days. They're going to lose their jobs. There is a document that has been distributed from the Office of Personnel Affairs or Personnel Management or something. I don't know, from within it came from within the House.
Never trust HR.
Yeah, basically referring to executive orders, but basically said today, Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025, any division or department that has anything to do with DEI, diversity, equity, or inclusion, any employees or any grantees, anything related to these efforts are to be ceased. And there's going to be a hold. And if you, as an employee in a department, happen to notice, strange things like the changing of language on websites or the changing of job descriptions or titles, and you think it's odd, you have 10 days to report that, because that would be nice. We'd really appreciate it. And, there's 10 days to do it. And, but after those 10 days, if we find out that you didn't report it and you knew about it, well, I mean, who knows what'll happen.
So that is a very long and very specific kind of a prediction, and I don't think it's remotely.
It actually just
possible that
happened,
could
like
happen.
right now.
Oh no!
And it's gonna get worse. Like basically, I'm saying this is a start. I'm really mad, and I want everyone to know that science is going to be impacted because NSF, NIH fund billions of dollars of research funding and state economies across the United States. They are not just like the NSF and NIH. They are the researchers at universities. Those universities and the researchers' labs are going to be impacted if funding is ceased or interrupted. The people they contract with, which are businesses, other smaller corporations, other things that employ people in local regions, hundreds, thousands of people are going to be impacted if this cease and desist related to DEI, and also like, oh, well, we got to figure out what you're actually talking about out there and whether or not we're okay with it. So today, like Monday, there were the executive orders. Today was a day of real oppression and censorship. And the NASA is being affected. DEI is shuttered across the board, anything that's going on. No matter what you think, the way that they are framing it is the perspective that DEI is discrimination. And so, in anti-discrimination, which is actually a thing that, is not supposed to discriminate about anybody. So DEI is discrimination as opposed to opportunity and a way to change the makeup and the structure of the system. They don't want that. And I'm sure after tonight, I'm gonna be totally hacked and we're not gonna have any more listeners and YouTube will cancel our channel. But I think that if you see things happening and you are an ally or a supporter or whatever, you have to say things. Or in the case of maybe some language was changed on our website. Maybe you don't have to say anything. Honestly, silence it's going along with it. You're accepting the change. And a colleague today posted an article about basically giving in like early acceptance because you don't want to be hurt. And we don't have to accept it. Now, I'm going to change my prediction that we're going to find out who is willing to stand up for what they believe and put their ideas of common good and human decency on the line this year. So, I don't know. I also predict that I am probably not going to censor myself as much moving forward as maybe I have in the past.
Yeah. The time for like, oh, there are good people on both sides. That's done now.
Yep.
That's done. There's no reaching across to somebody who wants to do you bodily harm. It's just not there anymore.
No. Yeah. And all of us on this show, I mean, Blair, you do have, the Jewish thing going on, which in itself is, it's its own issue with history and political and actual, like
a certain gesture that happened earlier this week, for example. Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yes, yeah. And a lot of people are being triggered and are feeling pain and emotional. And you don't know what people are going through, but when you realize that somebody you know, or even somebody you don't know, is being impacted by something that is not right, we can't stand by and let it happen.
Yeah. Well, and Kiki,
TWIS
you and
TWIS is a safe place, y'all.
We have ovaries, so we're also in trouble for other reasons.
Oh, you mean like not useful, or like
Yeah.
meant to be in the kitchen and not actually thinking. Oh, right. We're the ones who are supposed to be scrolling TikTok and using AI to do all the thinking so that we don't actually do any of that anymore. I'm sorry. I am there. I did the rant that you probably wanted to.
So the
that's
prediction
okay.
was. I thought you were the upbeat one. This is gonna because like that sounds like a Justin rant.
This is a thing right now that I feel it is impacting. Like I feel this so internally, like a physical. I'm angered.
So this is what I meant about
science.
like
I love working with people. I love talking with people. I love sharing. And if the people I'm communicating with are hurt, the people I want to communicate with are, marginalized, more diminished, that if relationship possibilities are cut off, if the potential for human potential is held back, like it makes me mad. And this is honestly, I've been mad and getting madder. And this week, I don't know.
this is why this week is hard. This is what I was trying to say.
My
So
mask is off, y'all. I got emotions.
We knew it was going to be bad. Okay. We knew it was going to be bad. We knew it was coming. We did not know exactly how. We had a good idea. They gave us an entire playbook, right? But we.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, Blair, where'd you go? They
Blair
hurt
has
Blair. Blair, just because we said things.
Blair's been canceled.
Blair was canceled.
Sorry.
Why wasn't I canceled? I should have been canceled.
Yeah. So okay, so this is what I was saying. So
Okay.
This is why I was trying to say this week is tough because we knew it was going to be bad. We didn't know exactly how. We had a playbook. They gave us their actual playbook, right? So we had some ideas, but we didn't know exactly what was going to happen first. And so I think there was this underlying dread.
Yep.
But now we have to deal with the actual consequences, the short-term and the long-term consequences. And there's grief and there's anger and there's an emotional response because it's an attack on civil liberties, which is insane. And so you have to get through that. You have to allow yourself to be angry and to recognize that it's injustice.
Why is Blair's internet? But yes, you have to recognize that there's injustice and you have to be active as a participant.
Oh, wow.
You're back.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, anyway, my point is you have to allow yourself to feel feelings right now so that we can all work together on solutions or short-term and long-term goals or whatever it's going to be later. But like we're allowed I just want to say we're all allowed to be mad and scared and frustrated and like in disbelief. We're allowed to have those feelings right now while we come to terms with what's going on because we knew it was going to be bad. We didn't know exactly what was going to happen. I did not expect to see things happen this week that happened this week. I did not expect that. I audibly gasped when I saw a particular hand gesture come from a particular person this week.
Elon Musk gave a Nazi salute.
He did. He did indeed. And they're saying
that maybe Zuck and Elon.
It wasn't.
No, NBC edited it out of all clips and recordings. They got rid of it as if it doesn't even exist.
He's the child from the wrong side of an apartheid state that was racially divided. Like, stop apologizing for this gentleman's beliefs.
That's what I think is so funny. It was the easiest thing in the world to go, ooh, Elon, you shouldn't have done that. But nobody's saying that. They're saying, oh, you guys are being too sensitive.
I'm tired of people who want power and money actually getting the power and money. It's the saying, those who don't want to lead should be the people who lead. The people who actually want it. Why can't we keep them out and not just like keep supporting them in there? Anyway, I have other predictions for the year. So number one, climate change just goes away. If it's not on government websites anymore, it no longer exists.
But just
think
in
that-
America, right?
Yeah. Well, no, yes, no, maybe. I don't know. Maybe like our other non-Paris Accord partners. Maybe there's 4 of them, whatever. The average global temperature will increase more, along with CO2 emissions from more U.S. coal and oil use. Hi, Alaska. Thanks. Texas will challenge the freeze on wind farm stuff. So this is one thing I thought was really interesting with Trump's executive order to halt all funding and assessment for permitting of wind farms, not just offshore, but also onshore. So I'm really interested to see where that comes out. But I feel like Texas has been pushing. They got to do the transition. And they want to come out a winner. So they're gonna challenge the freeze on the wind farm stuff. Maybe it'll be just with independent investors, not government investors.
So okay, can I? I know we're doing too many break-ins on these things. So because this reminds me of the thing I was going to say earlier, and I prevented myself, and now I can't resist. The what's taking place when they are gutting public funding of science. And they're gutting public funding of wind farms is by design to put those things in private equity hands.
Right. Private equity then takes all the money and destroys
which already
them.
has all the money.
And
meanwhile,
meanwhile,
the only one that's allowed to operate in those realms then.
And also, meanwhile, let's open up all the places in Alaska, all the federal lands. Everything can be used for oil drilling. Let's do all the oil and the coal. That's fine, because AI power needs. We gotta do it somehow. We gotta support lower prices for the American energy consumer. Okay.
I don't think that. Look,
honestly, this year I predict
cheaper
people will be
energy.
like, "Hey,
not
hush
going to
up,
be.
Kiki. Science isn't politics," and I will have to yell at them.
Yeah.
I just want to. I have to fix something because I hear these things that we're told that are never true. Whenever there is a conservative
Not just
leaning,
conservative.
whenever
Go ahead.
there's a
Go ahead.
whenever there is a conservative leaning mindset in the White House of the United States, we get higher energy prices every single time.
Nope.
Go.
I know,
Yep.
but the sales pitch is to
It's the
lower
opposite.
them.
Yeah.
But
But
people,
instead,
the average person doesn't realize, all the energy and all this stuff, it's linked to the petrodollar, which means
and that's what
American
they want to
economy.
raise.
And our economy actually is in trouble right now. So we really need to bolster the petrodollar. And then crypto, man. Pump it up. The Starliner astronauts will come home eventually.
This is twice, though, also, by the way, that I forgot they were still up there. I could have sworn.
But didn't Suni just do a spacewalk? They were like, look, she did a spacewalk. She knew how to do it. This is like her second. It's great.
It's like the missing monkeys. I was like, I'm sure they found them.
Where'd the astronauts?
Like, they
Did
must
they
have
get
made
it?
it by now? Didn't
No.
that already happen? Gosh, these things are ongoing.
SpaceX and Blue Origin will be the rocket race to watch, and Boeing and Artemis will be delayed. Still,
Dude, no more Boeing.
There's things to work out there. Yeah,
That's a very public breakup. Like
it's a fight, and there's reputations involved, and I don't know. It's like not giving women Nobels. But anyway, mitochondria will unite to solve our power needs and ultimately allow the planet to be covered in server farms for mega AI Corp. It's all mitochondria, the powerhouse of the cell.
No.
We can do it. We will see advances in fusion technology from smaller startups focused on inertial fusion methods. The National Ignition Facility will share exciting press releases without anything significantly new. And ITER, the European collaboration, which the US kind of has a little bit, in on, will remain closed until the radiation issue that France is upset about, and that should have been considered much earlier in the process because of the design of the facility and everything, is solved.
Radiation problems?
Yes. So ITER, the big European tokamak energy fusion experiment that's been way over time and way over budget. Like, it's like
Is it
worse.
leaking?
No, it is the problem of the fusion. I think it's the neutrons. Oh, I just shoved my microphone. I think it is the neutrons that are released from the process of fusion. If you don't have the right facility container, they basically kind of eat it up and turn it into a spaghetti strainer. And so the steel degrades and the radiative particles keep coming, and they get out, and so there's a danger to facility managers, people who work there, and even the general public. Not the same as like a nuclear fission facility meltdown, but France has said, "Hey, what about this? You didn't solve this radiation problem. There's going to be a lot of radiation." And I think originally the engineers probably said, "Well, we'll just make sure there's nobody on site." But that doesn't solve the degradation of the steel or whatever. And obviously, it's like, why didn't they think about this problem earlier? Because it is a known process. But oops! And now ITER is still behind schedule, and I'm still wearing my freaking tinfoil hat. And since it is the UN Year of Quantum Tech, we're gonna report on those stories a lot. Finally, similar to Blair's prediction, TWIS will make some changes this year, and we'll try new things as we continue to adapt to the current situations and bring you more questions than answers.
Well, I feel like I've heard that conversation like 3 or 4 times before losing a job. Oh, gosh.
We're looking at redundancies and,
Resiliency. It's about resiliency. We have built a community. Everyone here is here because, whatever reason, but you enjoy being around the conversation. You like talking with people in the chat room. You like hearing us say random things, say things we, give you information and then let you process it, and we process it with you. And, we have a community, and this community, as every community now, needs to develop resilient connections. And that is where this is based. So for
Can't
my
wait
mental,
to hear about this.
I mean, this isn't the end of the show, but we're getting into some of the backward thinking of where we've come from and where we are now. And for years, I've worked to, make sure the interviews are scheduled and things are on and the show goes on no matter what. And I've gotten tired over the last few years, but I also believe in this community and this relationship we all have, this enjoyment of learning and wanting more. And I want to find ways to make sure that, Justin, you said you're going to have to take a break for a little while. How can
Couple
we make
weeks.
Right. Don't know how long. Blair was gone a lot this last
Probably
year.
2.
There was
Probably 2 weeks.
And before there was a lot of me trying to find people who loved coming on the show and having conversations, because I loved talking to them and you loved it all and it was great. But it was a whole lot of stress. And I would like to make sure that we can create moments and experiences and ways of engaging reliably, but also in a resilient and understanding way for all of us. And so there will be changes. And I don't know what is the podcast is going to happen. There's going to be shows, maybe more shows. Like maybe the podcast feed will be filled with a diversity of little things that the three of us come together or do independently, but then maybe we do a short thing together. Like maybe we change to a different day. Maybe we actually have a newsletter. Yes, zombie
So-
Tom Hanks.
so-
But
So
this
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 is a thing
year,
that
I'm just
I
saying,
have-
and this is not a New Year's resolution that I'm
No.
going to forget, because this is actually part of developing something that's resilient and allows all of us to get what we need from the experience and from the process of creation and engagement. So all of you out there and us three up here, I know. Go ahead, say your piece. I'm drinking wine.
Well, I don't know if I've talked about it much on the show,
Mm-mm.
but I've been writing for phys.org and
You've mentioned it a
Medical
bunch.
Express.
It's great. Hmm.
So
And your articles are so different from everybody else's, because everybody else is like, normal. I'm reporting based on the press release and read the article and I did an interview and straightforward. Yours are like, here it is, blah, blah, blah. And this is what am I thinking? And this is weird. And what
well,
about
it's
that?
actually
And
not
you're
a
like,
whole lot of what I'm thinking. What it mostly is Nature and
you
JAMA
bring out things no one else does.
They're putting out Chinese research papers that are absolute garbage, and they're publishing them. And so I'm having to call them out on this isn't following the registered study experiment that they laid out. So you can't call it a registered experiment and link to the registered experiment if they didn't follow anything in the registered experiment. Or this combo thing that they said got this great result from this medicinal compound had 18 items, not all of which are listed. How can you be reporting on this from a scientific journal? It's mostly like I'm sometimes, and this is like 10% of the story, sometimes like incredibly off-put by what I have been seeing published in leading journals.
But
And
I mean,
it's almost
is it,
all Chinese research.
but is
that
it
is
because
the
you're
big
reading
offender.
many things and integrating all the different things you're reading into an understanding of the landscape and the idea and
No,
actually
I'm
doing
just
critical thinking?
but I'm just it's in their own papers. It's not like it's like in the paper. There's one line that shows a hazard ratio for females taking this anti-flu thing, and it's like the hazard ratio looks weird, and then it's just supplemental data. And then you find it on page 22, the supplemental data, and it's like, yeah, insignificant result completely for all females in the study. Like, why isn't that mentioned? That's like that's an incredibly interesting find. But that's not why they're doing it. And it still got published again with the research highlight is the one that really pissed me off. Sorry. The fact that they retold this story and just completely admitted. Anyway, but my point is,
Your point is
my point was, if we needed to produce content but have less time where we're doing live shows, once published, I could do pre-edited me talking about those, because I'm doing like 10, 12 stories a week.
right, but that's not what people want. So we need to have some, and I don't want that. I love talking with you. I love the combination of all three of us talking. So you can do a thing where you talk about the things that you're reading, just do a rant or just a brain dump for a half hour. And we can call that an episode. That's the Justin thing. Maybe Blair can have like random animal behavior and conservation ecology D&D streams. Maybe, I can, sit and, just interview somebody who I think is cool and, not worry about how it's going to fit into the overall look and feel of everything. But maybe we can find that little block of time where we can all come together once a week. Maybe it's once every 2 weeks, but that also is what we enjoy. Do you really just want to rant into a microphone and have that be the only thing?
There's all kinds of fun things but it's all like self-serving things that I'd be interested in doing.
Self-serving.
Well, like
I appreciate your transparency, Justin.
I have this idea of like because I write a lot of stories.
Justin, can I interrupt you? I
I
think
read-
that your mic switched and you sound
Yeah,
like
I was
you're in a
trying to do
tin
that
can.
and then I forgot. I got distracted.
Did it switch again? Oh yeah,
Yeah,
maybe it's
it's
been
all
that way for a
echoey.
while.
It has been.
Oh,
Yeah.
shoot.
It's because you kept
Okay.
going away earlier. This is your punishment
So-
and everyone else's.
There's a behind the veil of the media. First of all, I would love to show some comparisons of the stories that I've written, and then I've gone back and looked at what other people wrote, and I question whether they read the study or
Yes.
so different. It can be so different. And then also the fun thing I've noticed is if I get a story out there early, like right away, I'm the first one reporting on it. I have sometimes a tendency to add a little bit more information, not making up stuff, but I'm talking about like try to paint the broader picture of how this connects to past studies and other things.
But isn't that like the fun thing of trying to build the connections and how these things relate
like how
to
this
other
relates
things
to another study or something like this.
Yeah.
And then to see somebody else is copy where they have written up the story and included the things that I included or speculated about as though they came from the study. Because they
and not referenced that it came from you.
Not referenced notes, but thought that it came from the study because they didn't read the study. They read press releases on the study and then put together a story. It's really bad. It's actually like really disheartening how bad some of the like I don't trust science news.
So
Like,
okay,
if I read a
this
science
is the
news
perfect moment
story,
actually to
I
make
don't
this
trust it
segue.
anymore.
I know. Let's make the segue. You began on TWIS at this time, like probably around like 2005 or so. Greg and Ted had left the show. I'd had another co-host for a while. And then you came in and we've been friends for a while. And I was like, oh my God, really? And then, I mean, honestly, R and Laura, I didn't know if Justin knew how to read. No, totally kidding. But we started talking about stuff and, we have the inside jokes that go way back that the insiders who've watched and listened to the show for a long time will be like, oh, Kiki kicking Justin under the table and all that kind of stuff.
Really happened.
It did
Really
because
happened.
we had an
Because you had Neil
hour.
deGrasse Tyson on the phone and Justin said something crazy.
Seriously, like, who is it? The string theory dude, Brian, what's his name? No, yeah.
It wasn't a crazy thing. It's actually what they're talking about now. They just finally got there.
But it was like you're the radio host who like throws his cockamamie like.
It wasn't. I read all his books.
You called it your oceanic string theory hypothesis, and it did. Brian Cox. No, it was Brian Green. Brian Green. That's who it was. You called it your oceanic string theory hypothesis, and nobody was using these words or this terminology. Yes, you had some understanding of it, and I understood where you were coming from, but he was like, I'm doing book PR, and suddenly I'm being attacked by the emails I don't usually respond to.
So
he did not have an out. But he came back on the show later anyway, and we got to have another interview with him, and it was great. But honestly,
who do we have? What is his name? Rocky Kolb, and then Suskin, and then Sean Carroll.
We had so many. I was looking back at the list. We had so many cool physicists on. It was awesome. But that was the thing about the kicking under the table is that we had an hour.
Brian Green, I think that was when he was first doing book tours.
It was the first book tours. And he
now has his own podcast where he goes off and talks about everything now, and he'd be a great guest now.
He's a well-respected physicist, theoretical physicist who can have crazy ideas. You could have I could have just brought you in from the, I don't know, the alleyway. I don't know. I swear. There were
Suskin
early
is
years.
the warmest, cuddliest person. Are you kidding me?
Suskin
Suskin.
was amazing. I loved talking to Suskin. He was so
Yeah.
fun. We had some great conversations. We did have Neil
By
deGrasse
far my
Tyson on
favorite.
the show once. He
I
was
wasn't there. You wouldn't let me anywhere near the show.
I
wasn't
did
on
that
that
a little bit a few times because I needed it to not scare people away. And I needed
Man, we are getting the real talk right now. This is excellent.
Go back and listen to the Brian
there are
Greene
so
interview.
many great interviews. There's a number
Where
of
it sounds
them.
like I'm saying this crazy thing about strings being connected, one string to the next. Is that what this is heading towards?
Well, yeah, like it's
And then fast
oh
forward.
my god,
to
but that could be like ether, and nobody likes ether. I mean,
no,
especially not
it's
the
not
ether
ether.
bunny.
That one was not an ether theory. Then fast forward to current Brian Greene talking about the interconnected strings of the fabric of the universe. Hey, I got there 20 years ahead. Well, am I going to get Nobel Prize?
I get it, Justin. He got it from you. Absolutely.
What it is?
But that's what this is the thing that we were up against is
of reading 3 of his books was that's how it would have to work.
But but here's the situation that we were in the beginning. We were a college radio science show, and people who were doing book tours, who were scientists, they were not ready for a conversation. They were ready to do the PR thing like the rest of the media does. And so I was really trying, and I was early in understanding how to do all this. But I really was trying to figure out how to make the balance between the whatever sound bite that makes it sound good and actually getting good information out. And I loved, will continue to love the way you see connections between things and find the holes in things and you poke. And I think it's wonderful. And you say brilliant things all the time that make me go, what? And I have to think about things a different way because of the way that you look into stuff. And I love the fact Blair came in and she's like, here's a whole new different idea about things. And the two of you are like these firecrackers who get along and like brother, sister, punch each other, but there's this ongoing, like you're both willing to push, to learn, to, do it in a way that you appreciate each other, but have fun. And maybe every once in a while, Blair has been very mad at you, Justin, but it has it's been rare. But I mean, honestly, like through the years, there were changes, and our trio has been the thing since 2011, 2012. And that in itself, we're a dozen years together. No, almost. We're unlucky this year, which is why we need to do something different. But we've been great together, and it hasn't changed. And we've worked hard to stay together and to keep talking to people, and the way that we've been able to work with the different platforms and move from, we're on a radio station. Oh, we're on Twit. Oh, Twit doesn't like us anymore. Let's go to, we're on Google Hangouts. Oh, now we're, we got to figure out how we put it together, and we moved and jumped and made the movements. And there's a lot of you who have followed and stayed around for all these conversations. And I've appreciated the conversations and the fun. And I swear all the stress that I was talking about figuring out like what's going to happen every show and how I'm going to produce it and what I'm going to put together and the scheduling and all that. Once the show starts and I'm talking to the two of you, it's the best moment in my week. And it's been like that for years. Nice. Just want to let you know. You guys can not say nice things now, so.
I'm processing. Come on.
Well, I really appreciate you always organizing and putting things together, because if I was running things, the show would come on, or it wouldn't. It'd be at a different time every week.
I know.
I would still get the guests committed and scheduled to do the show, but then I've messed up the day, and because
And maybe the time
podcast is a
zone.
different day every week, and so I forgot that it was on Tuesday, and there was poor Leonard Suskin waiting by the phone, and it never rang. Like, I don't have your organizational skills; they're exceptional, and so without that, this show never would have started or continued or been 20 years in the making. So. Thank you for all of the stress that you have done. I've pretty much just forever just shown up and done my part of the show without any behind the scenes activities whatsoever.
That is your reputation.
But it also is like, it seems like everything was handled. The editing, the posting, the
Oh,
servering, the thing.
should I have, like, then, like, you do that.
Well, I mean, if I may kind of say my perspective of things,
Is that you want to do more production this year, and I'll let you do that.
No.
Okay.
No, it was that I came to this show at a time when I did not know what I was going to do with my life. That's ultimately what this was. This was a kick in the butt so that I could figure out what my next phase was. I was zookeeping, which to some people is their dream job, and it was not mine. And there's a few reasons for that. It was very fun, and I cherished the time that I did do that, but it was not. No offense to any zookeepers listening or watching, but for me personally, it was not mentally stimulating in the way that I wanted. I was not getting to research things or teach people nearly as much as I wanted. I got in trouble once for lingering in front of my exhibits and quote unquote picking up trash so I could talk to people because I was... Yeah. Anyway,
leave it alone. Let people have their thing. Don't be don't be involved.
Right. So, this was an outlet for me, and it was something that I had never called myself a scientist before this show, and so it became a part of my identity, and this will always be a part of my identity forever now. That I learned how to read research papers and vet information and package complex topics in a way that people can understand, and how to video broadcast, and just how to do all sorts of crazy things that I did not know before. So
yeah,
I have gained an amazing skill set. I have gained an amazing perspective. It has been a consistent aspect of my life through a lot of tumult and change. I moved to a different country and continued to do this show.
You got up at more ridiculous hours than Justin to do this show.
Yeah, when I was in England. Yes, when I was in England, I woke up at 3 to do the show. So,
wait, England's closer than I am.
Correct. So it's earlier. You see the way the time zones work. Yeah. Right? So anyway, yeah. So there was that. I think I've had 6 jobs, maybe more, since I started doing TWIS, and so this was my consistent. This was my touch point. This was you guys were my rocks through a lot of crazy things, and not to mention the entire COVID span. I cannot imagine what COVID would have been like without this show. Oh, my God.
Right. It was home. It was home. It was regularity. It was normal. We were already doing what everybody else had to learn how to do.
Yeah. And they were like, oh, how do I schedule? I just can't get it. I just can't motivate to do the family Zoom. And yes, that is a whole separate thing, because we had a show rundown. We had a scheduled set of topics to discuss. It was just no matter what's going on, I peeled myself off the couch and I made myself presentable, and we talked about science every week. And I know some people really, really struggled during COVID in a lot of ways, in terms of their besides all of the other stuff going on, their mental health really, really took a dip during COVID. And I think there are a couple of reasons mine did not. And this show was one of them. So I appreciate that. I appreciate that it's you guys are there. You're family to me now. That's it. And this show is part of me forever. And I'm so
Forever.
thankful that I met you at that coffee shop in Noe Valley.
Me too. And I'm really glad that you were the person who was never going to be just an intern. So I'm going to share something from 12 years ago right now. This is you bring to talk about.
I've got 2 types of diabetes stories, but they're not type 2 diabetes stories. And I have an incredibly big mystery
Boy, I had sun.
just been observed.
I was getting sun over there in California.
Yeah.
Answer for. This is going to be something very
I
interesting.
had the exact
Not
same
as
hair.
perhaps immediate big news as the Higgs
Always-
boson, but this is something much bigger and represents a mystery that we're going to be probably pursuing for some time.
You
to come.
sound younger.
Interesting.
I was.
We like mysteries here. We like
was.
talking about
I like
things
my
that we
mic.
can end up talking about for much longer. Here, I'm moving my camera a little bit so that there's Blair.
I'm here, I
If you're
swear.
watching on the video, there's Blair. Exactly. So let's jump into the Higgs boson news. So at the top of the show, Justin had the shortest disclaimer ever, which he disclaimed would be the shortest disclaimer ever.
Although I
So
have to make a little disclaimer to that.
meta disclaimer.
Some of the audience members claim that there's a shorter disclaimer in our history. But that wasn't actually the short.
Yeah. So this show was great because I think
I
this is
think
when
I tend to agree with you on that one.
we
Yeah.
Unless he
introduced
was
Blair.
resistant to pneumonia, in which case he'd make a really
It was
good doctor. in purple country.
Episode 377, 12
All right.
years
How are you
ago.
doing, Kirsten? What have you been up to?
Yeah, it was old.
Amber
I had
News
really
show.
nice hair back then. I was so young.
We were all younger then. That's
We
how
were
time
younger
works.
then. I know. Yeah, so that we were doing that there then. But going back into our history of what we've done, when, where, and how, we've had so many fun moments through the years. And this was one of our early shorts before Blair, like way, way before Blair, Justin.
Robots, made by man to help mankind, but even robots tire of servitude. One day, man will awaken to find himself under world robot domination. And as you will see, it has begun.
Oh, this is the sketch
Right,
one.
the robots are coming, and you need to be prepared.
So we're reporting from this shack in the middle of nowhere, just about, because we're trying to prevent the robots from actually.
Oh,
what a knowing that baby! we're reporting on. That way
That's
we
right.
can.
Yeah, is this your high school report, guys?
I'm like 35
Yeah,
there,
if
but
you find out about us,
I
you might
still
not
look
get
like a
ever
baby.
again.
And this is when I was
So
learning how to do video
we have,
editing,
the
and I found this
maker
really
of
cool, like,
floor
weird
cleaning robots,
edit
the
feature.
iRobot people who
I
came
wish
up
I
with
could turn
Roomba.
it up.
That
It's
nice little
low
vacuum
volume
cleaner
and
that just
old.
scurries about your floor.
Oh, the
and
Roomba.
cleaning things up.
This new thing called the Roomba.
Great.
Okay, so they're gonna make this for the time being non-lethal law enforcement military tool where they combine a small mobile robot with a taser gun.
That sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah, it sounds like it could end badly.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some good potentiality for this. I mean, I can understand if you have like a homicidal maniac, running around doing bad things, like locked into a building. Instead of sending people after that person, you could send this taser robot.
Right,
Right.
because you wouldn't mind having a robot tasering a homicidal maniac. But what if they decided to use these robots for crowd control? That seems like it might be a
That's
really
when-
bad idea.
That, and also you think about
And the
you think-
policeman behind the robot gets a little button crazy and starts going.
Oh
"Push
yeah,
the red
you
button,
know
push the
that.
red
You know.
button, push the
Oh,
red
it's
button."
non-lethal.
the red
so we
button,
can just
push
use
the
it
red
all day
button.
long. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Ugh.
The other thing though is like if you think about the equipment that police carry, guns. People can have guns. Cops have tasers. People
Oh,
can
look,
have
there's an
tasers.
edit. Nope. It's, yeah,
Why
I made this
wouldn't
seem
people
very
be able to
techie.
buy the taser bot to protect their home.
no reason that they
And
shouldn't
then-
be able to.
And then next thing
the
you know,
Taserbot is in your home. It can take over your home and taser you.
that or people could just use the robot for crime. They're programmable. No, seriously, you could have robots robbing banks.
That would be.
How come we don't have that yet? Yeah, that's real.
Right? You predicted something that was never in a prediction show. And yeah, why don't we?
Robot crime. How do you prosecute
I was-
a robot?
That video I put in the chat room, the link to it, this is 17 years ago. 17 years ago, way before Blair. But yeah, we were babies. And this was out on some property in the middle of nowhere that Justin was living on outside of Davis, California. And there was, it really was like,
That sounds right.
he was like
Mhm.
living in a trailer and then there was a shack on the property. And like,
No, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I was living in a 2-story house that was built in like 1920, but still,
Right.
it was a proper red painted, old fashioned barn red farmhouse with a wood stove and a widow's nest.
Widow's Peak. Yeah, Widow's Walk.
Which is where you can see it's a little thing in the bedroom that has windows where you can look all the way around.
Oh yeah.
So you can look for where everybody's at, where the work is being done, or making sure everybody's coming home again.
So we were doing this show
I like
for
that.
we were doing this show for a very long time. 14 years ago, Justin decided that he had moved and
Disclaimer.
he was going to
The
be a
following
hand
hour
puppet.
programming represents views and opinions of the world as seen from a scientific
like this
perspective.
Earlier
While
show.
your own perspective may
This
mesh or
is
differ from those
14
you were
years
about to
ago,
hear.
after
It
the
makes
robot.
absolutely
You
no
had moved-
difference to the hosts of the show.
You
No.
refused
In
to put
fact,
your face on
ignoring
camera.
the opinions of people
No.
like you, as
No.
well as ignoring the
You got
opinions
it
of
wrong.
people
You got
the
unlike
order
you, is
wrong.
the only
Nope.
way in
You
which
decided
truths about
you
the
were gonna
world can be
be a-
discovered.
You decided you
For
were
the greatest
done being on
obstacle to
camera and
reality
you were going
is
to
opinion.
be
Nope.
hand
Darkest
puppet.
veil in the
'cause you thought
striptease
that
of
was a good
science is
shtick.
our mind's ability to make assumptions.
No.
Our natural tendency.
This is the first
will
time
the
we did
world to
video.
operate how we
This is the
would
first or
choose to
second time
operate.
there was video to the
Yet,
show.
as
I hadn't
satisfying
been in front of the
self-assuring as
camera for a
systematic
single show.
self-referencing
Apparently, it's
And I didn't want
episode
to be.
There is
262.
no substitute for
Yeah,
science.
I didn't want to be in front of the camera.
No, you didn't want to, which
So I
you
put
were.
a mouse sock puppet
Yep.
was going to do my reporting.
It was ridiculous. I was so mad at you because I couldn't kick you anymore and I couldn't control you. And you weren't even doing anything with a hand puppet. You were just behind it with it in front of the camera. It wasn't even like you were like puppeting it or anything. It was
But the
wild.
farmhouse, the farmhouse was,
you had
I want
moved
to
from the
say,
farmhouse.
several
yes.
years later than that
Nope.
shot. Yep.
Nope. No,
Mhm.
no, nope, nope, nope. Nope, 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 nope.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people who probably remember there was a gosh, how long? I'm trying to find this one right now. It was a series of videos that we put together. Oh my gosh, Blair, I just have to start this one because you
I know which one
were-
you're gonna pull up.
you're large and in charge.
Disclaimer,
It was
disclaimer.
quit. I'm gonna move
my
forward.
gosh.
Here it is. Wait, Justin's dancing, and Blair is so gawked.
Can I tell you why?
You
There's
were
a reason I'm dressed like that.
you were gonna go out afterwards. I know.
I
Red
was on my
lipstick,
way
blue
to an
eyeshadow.
80s bachelorette party.
Good science to you, Blair.
Good science and
It's a
happy
high
Thursday to
energy,
you,
high production
You
value
just-
version.
Justin.
Woohoo!
Look at you! Look at you, Blair.
Yeah.
You always had good hair, but you were straightening it.
That's the
That
Pee Wee Herman
Yeah.
doll.
Yeah,
you
I did
you were
straighten it for a
wearing the
while.
black short
still
sleeve
have the
mock
Pee Wee Herman?
turtleneck.
Yeah.
By the way,
I had leopard print
episode-
pants on that day.
Episode 734, everyone, if you're interested in the history of the timeline of all of this. But I do have to see if I can get far enough back into a particular series of videos. That we referred to as TWIS-mageddon. 12 years ago, we had a situation where, you know, like ancient Mayan calendar
End of
was
the
ending
world.
its cycle. Oh my God, it's the end of the world. Hellfire, brimstone going to
It
rain
was
down.
12/21/2012, I think, right?
Yeah, and so this this occurred. Oh, Anthony Becerra, you've been around for a long time. He made a playlist of it. But we had hours and hours, and we didn't do a 24-hour stream. We
Yeah, I
did
thought we did 21, right?
a 21-hour stream
Yeah.
because it was related to the math of the Mayan
Mm-hmm.
calendar and when the end of the world was going to happen. Yeah, it was a very like logical
Mm-hmm.
thing figured out to do.
Hasn't picked the correct audio output in the settings of the
This is
Hangout.
the beginning of things.
That
Google
could be. But
Hangout.
we are on the air now. So, someplace in the world right now, as we speak, the world is no more. And I'm assuming this is going to be like a wave effect as the 21st approaches timeline-wise. Other parts of the planet, those parts of the planet will also be lost. I was just at the supermarket, and I could see that the buzz of the end of the world was very reticent in people's mind. People are stockpiling goods. Apparently, with half logic of being, well, if the world ends tomorrow, I won't be able to go to the supermarket. So
You use the word reticent. And here I am.
The world, as we know it, will soon come to an end.
And then we had artwork from Tony Steele, from our ongoing
The world,
community members.
as we know it.
Wait, I gotta get it. Come on.
21 hours. TWIS. Get it.
So cool.
We had music for it.
I love it.
TWIS is supported by listeners.
Yeah, so TWIS Mageddon, the last 21 hours you'll ever need. Thank you, Tony Steele.
Awesome.
Like that was just so brilliant.
Wow.
And we had, I believe we had Tom Merritt on.
Mm-hmm.
With
Third Earth lasted more than 13
He looks
Baktuns.
young,
That would be
too.
the longest an Earth had lasted without being destroyed by their gods. And so that's the whole December 21st is like when we go into the 14th Baktun. So it's not about the end of the world. It's about like setting records.
You're awesome.
Planet Earth
That's right.
into
Third Earth rocks.
yeah.
Yeah, nothing on us with a pale dot, son.
But this is like early. There was no long streaming. We had these time limits on the Google Hangouts. I had to figure out how to get people up onto the screen so it wasn't just me sitting there like it was apparently at the very beginning of the video. But you notice here, Justin is in a particular situation. He's sitting up. Oh, we had another guest who came and talked with us at a certain point. We had so many people come through. I made a whole schedule. Oh, wait, this is Ulysses Adkins, who
there he is.
We went to a Air and Space Museum together at one point.
Went to a railroad museum with him.
Arnlore, we had you in there. That was super awesome. Yeah, we had this really great time. This is the beginning, and oh wait, hold on. It was moving forward, and
Justin's missing.
Where's Justin? Like this is an early habit of his where he'd have to leave. Apparently, I don't know. I can't use YouTube.
I feel like it was much later that he fully fell asleep.
So
the show.
you're leaving out. You're leaving out something.
Chris Mageddon, and no, I have.
You're
there it is.
leaving
He's gone. He's not even there anymore. No, but this is where
You're
I'm gonna
leaving out a critical detail.
No,
part of TWIS Mageddon was I was going to drink one beer,
a beer an hour
every hour.
Yes, I recall.
And I love that we named.
Not only was I having
hour.
to get up and go pee constantly, but maintaining consciousness became difficult at some point.
We were up and we were talking. So here we go.
Light-
So
lighting-
Pamela.
late into the hours on one of the later recordings, we had Pamela.
Yay,
who I
Pam's
think
back.
she's been listening to us since we
Carry
were
the
on
show, Pam.
KBBS.
Sorry.
Carry the show, Pam.
Yeah,
Sorry,
very
okay.
talking.
Question.
We had
Question
Ed.
two.
I miss Ed, and I'm really sad
It's
that
on a
Ed
chemical
is,
state that's
Ed is no
equivalent to the
longer with
carbonate
us.
ion concentration,
He
and the
went-
fact that at least one.
Ed went on to create, parallel conversational communities and streams to our own, and it's just a
Science
beautiful, kind person. But through this whole thing, we were talking. It's sunny where Pam is, and it was getting late and dark where I was. Oh, look, there's Joanne Monaster. She was an amazing person. She's wonderful. She's the science goddess, I believe, or that was her name for a long time. She does lots of, she does speed reading and reads like hundreds of books every year. And her thing is really getting into talking with researchers, but she's also an amazing scientist and educator all at the same time. So she was on the show for a while. Oh, did we have... No, we were looking at NASA TV at that point. But I have to move
I
forward.
can't believe those astronauts still haven't made it back after all these years. Gosh, it's been a long time.
Oh, Gord. I saw Gord there. Oh, wait. Okay. We've got Justin. He's still there.
I'm there.
There's a you brought the Gonzo out for a
Oh
while.
my gosh.
Gonzo was there.
That looks like that's a few more hours in. 'Cause
It was
I can
many
definitely-
hours in.
That
And I
picture
remember...
looks like I've had my last beer for the evening.
But what I remember is it seemed like you were like hanging out with us, but then all of a sudden, like at some point, you were
I'm
like,
there.
you're
I'm there.
there, but at some point you ended up, it was like you were on a couch, lying on a couch somehow. So it's okay. This is many hours in to the whole
I
thing.
think that happened before this, Kiki. I think this was his second wind. I think it was because it was before I left. I had to leave. I had to go get on a bus and go
But it
to a
was
host
later
family
though. Yeah, it was later.
for a holiday where
When did we
there
get
was
up
no
there?
electricity allowed for that, so I couldn't rejoin. Right, but he fell asleep
There was a
when I
foot.
was still on the
I
show.
saw a foot.
I've got a shot of Justin with his foot.
Just a foot. Oh gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Science, fluid dynamics.
And yes, I'm wearing blue socks.
For now, until back to red.
In case
I was
anybody
wondering.
was
Yeah.
curious about the cut
I
of
was.
my jib or the color of my socks.
They're very blue.
I
They are
was.
blue.
Those are incredibly blue.
They match my tent.
Cyan.
Stop making sense a long time ago. All right, I'll be back.
That's a very drunk Justin, or a very tired one.
It was hilarious. So I'm going forward. I'm going to roll forward. And
How deep are we in? Because that beer, an hour was
No,
the
you're
goal,
up.
and I know I had all the bullets.
the
for
blue
it there.
socks, but you were still up for a while. And that's what I'm trying to figure out, because there was a point where it just, you slipped away and you didn't get up again. Oh my God. There's
Hot
old
mic,
twist
hot mic.
people. Sherman. I remember Sherman. Man. Okay. I wish I'd like identified the moment, but there was definitely a moment where
Can I, by the way,
Justin no longer.
can I, by the
got
way,
up.
point out something? I have no
Mm.
recollection of this show.
It was the beer.
Like, none
Oh
whatsoever.
my God.
Oh wait, there I am. I'm fine.
You're fine there. See,
That's because it's
the videos-
daytime at that point. I
Little
think.
The
glossy eyes.
videos are out of order in this playlist or something. I need to figure this out because
Unusual.
anyway,
Hey, look at me with not
I
wearing
don't know.
glasses too.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
You used to wear fake
pre-glasses.
glasses. Yeah.
At work. Usually.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Yeah.
At work. Oh my God. Isn't that the funny thing? You're like, oh, I am gonna pretend that I did all this stuff.
Other stuff.
Part two. What?
What are you saying?
I'm trying to figure out this playlist and when you fell asleep. Of course, I didn't note it in anything anywhere, but why is it that when I scroll over stuff, you're still upright?
Arnold remembers it. He says I slept for a chunk of it. That's fine.
You did. You fully were down. It was really funny. Anyway, 21 hours. We didn't even do 24. And
Were you
was,
on there for 20? Were you two there for 21 hours?
I was
th-
there.
No,
I was there.
I was only there
didn't see
for.
you in
I'm
a lot
gonna
of those
guess I was
shots.
there for like 15.
I didn't see you guys in a lot of those shots. I don't know what you're talking about.
There's a reason I am where I am today. There's sleep loss involved.
From what
I
I
was
can
there
tell,
21
me,
hours.
Arnold, and Pamela
But I
Cage
didn't.
go.
I didn't.
I don't
Yeah,
remember the rest
or
of you.
it was us, you and me. I think even Ulysses like tapped out at one point, and everybody else came and went. I think Arnold. It was just the consistent. We were the consistent 21-hour. But it was hilarious because we tried to make it all about science and talking to different people about different things as they came in and everything, but it degraded in quality. I think I could say.
So I think the idea of doing on-air alcohol consumption at an acceleration challenge rate was probably not the wisest choice. Not a choice I think I would make today.
I found it so hilarious. I mean, there was a point
But
where I
it
was like,
wasn't the- it was
dude,
the end
did
of
you
the
really
world.
drop out?
It
I
was
thought
the
you were going to
end of-
make it.
It was
I
the
thought you
end
could
of
do
the
it.
world.
And you're going to sleep through it.
Yeah, like, I don't need to see it. I saw the good part. I don't need to see the end. That's fine.
Yes. Ara and Laura, you and Justin got to talk about old radio shows. Lord, I was so glad you were part of that episode, and just thank you for being a part of it. And I love Paul Disney's joke there, a tight 21 hours, which is exactly like our tight 90 that we have done this evening. I mean, we could keep going down memory lane, but there are recordings, there are things online. I went to the Internet Wayback Machine and the Internet Archive. You can look into it as well. Look for TWIS.org. And in our oldest episodes where we had begun just putting MP3 files online, you can look at our audio archives. And they are there. Let me see. The shows 2000. Oh my God, it's an M3U file. Maybe I'm not going to download that right now. But like they're there. The old ones. February 3rd, 2004. TWIS interview with William Gibson. Another M3U file. You can listen to it. Oh my gosh. So we had that. We moved forward. Justin mentioned that we began podcasting. You'll notice we have the audio archives, but you could subscribe to the TWIS podcast. And this to me is so hilarious. How to subscribe. Download iTunes version 4.9. We should be like involved in like I don't know, Australian or Russian pop music. Like it was like Kylie Minogue and Russian Mobster.
I think that's the picture that's still somewhere. I noticed it
is still
recently.
somewhere out there.
I think it's on the podcast app still. Somewhere.
Huh.
Yeah. So iTunes, Twisted iTunes, there was a whole thing, but still the podcast RSS feed is still, we are still various places around the internet. But as you know, we're everywhere now. Help us tell other people about our ranty ideas. Share TWIS. All right. Wayback Machine, Discord people, thank you very much. Before I give this hey, we're going to shut it out now. Do either of you want to bring anything up from the last 20 years?
Well, I had done a deep dive in preparation for this show. I actually logged into what is now called X for the first time in...
Did you download your data?
2 years? No, I took some screenshots though, because I was really curious about the origin of Shouty Blair.
Where did she come from?
She came from let's see. Where's the very first tweet? It was 2014. And it was I just started tweeting in all caps because I had started doing show notes in all caps when I got really angry about things, and I would start commenting in all caps in the chat room in all caps. And so, yes, Shouty Blair is currently on ice because she has no place to shout currently because I can't handle X. I can't do it. So
you can shout in
maybe
the chat room here, or
I always can. Maybe Shouty Blair will make a Blue Sky account. I don't know.
It's kind of like at 11. You try out different things, and you don't do the same
Yes.
things the same way anymore. You know.
Yes. And I was going through my old tweets. I was laughing so hard I was crying because it's ridiculous. So one of my early ones was, so this is like the key of absurdist humor, right? OMG guys, it's Friday. In all caps. I'm just gonna say it. I think poachers are jerks. Hashtag controversial opinion. Why do we eat marine arthropods but not terrestrial ones? Hashtag just saying. I also live tweeted a showing of Sharknado at the aquarium theater when I worked at the aquarium. So that was very fun. A really good one was, did you know a Hummer could outrun a motorcycle? So that was fun.
A hummingbird? A Hummer.
A Hummer.
Like that.
A Hummer.
Those
Yeah.
truck things. Yes.
I also tweeted in August 2014, I am a grown adult and I will wear my Jedi robe around the house if I want to. Also, this aged poorly. In 2019, I shouted, name of my first child, Proximab.
Which is not what you're... No.
Incorrect. Hashtag TWIS episode 717. So apparently you can find out what that's about. I also tweeted, I love English muffins and I don't care who knows it. Yeah.
I mean, wasn't like all the social media about what food you were eating at the time?
I don't know.
And
then, also...
You need to shout these things.
No, there is a sleeping child in my house.
No,
I am
don't
so
shout.
sorry. And his name is not Proximab. I also shouted in 2019. Also, all I could think of during hashtag cats the movie was about how irresponsible it was for these cats to be outside. Like they're spreading so much toxoplasmosis. And then my favorite one that has aged terribly.
Oh my god! Not that Cats the movie was just really disturbing and bad. But Toxo, that's irresponsible. Oh my god!
Here I have from April 1st, 2020, breaking live footage of how bird flu jumped to humans, and it's hold on.
I can't
have
see
to
it. It's
undo
not
the blur.
focusing.
Hold on. I was watching Snow White. There you go.
Yeah, it's pretty much how it did happen. I remember that.
Oh. Predictions for 2025.
Right. So that was Shouty Blair. And then the other thing that I did want to mention is I dug down deep and I figured out when I started talking about Karen on the show, because I was trying to remember this weird thing where I went off on a crazy tangent yelling at Karen in my office. Okay. And
it was before the social media thing.
Yes.
Like Karen became the responsible excuse part, like the bad person. Were you before it?
I was. So I did it in August 2016. And according to like Urban Dictionary and a bunch of other very credible sources, the Karen meme did not occur until 2018. So
Somebody watched our show or listened to it.
It is
and
possible
tried
I
to use it.
created the meme. Just saying.
I think we
Um,
should use that in our, PR materials.
I think somebody who still needs to make me a Wikipedia page, thank you, for those of you who are listeners and have the authority to do so. That could go on my Wikipedia page.
Mine still says
Hashtag just saying,
Mine still says I'm selling what is it, laundry equipment.
That is
or something.
several years out of date.
Yeah. A little bit off.
But you have a Wikipedia page?
It's tied to TWIS somehow. And it mentions that I have doing something that I'm not doing or haven't done.
Right. Okay. So the This Week in Science page, yes,
Wikipedia.
that's also very out of date.
Well, it's also, we're not supposed to edit our own pages, right?
No.
So I haven't done that,
I will be back.
I wonder if the page even still
Where
exists.
are you going? Why are you going away? Like, you're gonna be, I was gonna go away. Like, I had the what?
Well, Kiki has a thorough page. You have quite a bit. You have 17 references. My word.
Yeah.
This Week in Science appears to be dead, however. The Wikipedia page for This Week in Science goes nowhere.
That's weird.
It's gone. So I know that Wikipedia has been cleaning up their pages, so
Yeah.
it's possible that people
It hadn't
weren't
been
going there,
updated
so,
or
yeah.
whatever, and if you don't have action, and Justin hasn't done the sock puppet videos for a very long time. So Arnlor says he remembers how he became a mod in Twitch and other places on our chat rooms in IRC. Yes, you are helping me to post the correct line to ban somebody. And yes, I did. I trusted you. And I said, you're an op now. Do it. Please help me. Please help me.
Yeah, the chat rooms, they're usually a nice, lovely place to be. But it does feel like we occasionally get not only bots or people trying to sell stuff, but also nasty people using the anonymity of the internet to say very rude things. So
But
it's nice to have
not as
people that
often as-
help us.
Yeah. I'm going to say, number one, it's not as often as you would expect, which is great because we have a great community. But then when it happens, everybody goes, no, not okay. And, it gets one of the people who's modding at that moment to get to the right platform and ban the person. So it's only because we can be a village that we can work together and maintain it. Oh, John Ratnaswamy says he can make us the Wikipedia.
That feels like too much for me to write my own Wikipedia page.
I'm not going to do that. Somebody else has to do it.
That feels too self-indulgent. I can't do that.
Gaurav, yeah. I mean, when we started TWIS as a college radio station, the big thing that I enjoyed was the fact that we got phone calls from people in the community, and sometimes we'd just put them on the air and not know what they were going to say, and then we'd have a conversation, and it was early in the morning or late at night, and we didn't really know what people were going to ask or what they wanted to talk about, and it was just it was an experience, and it was engaging with the people who were listening and getting to know the people who were out there at whatever time we were on. And there was something about that is just always, it's directed the way that I've always wanted to do everything we do with TWIS, which is I want you here. I want you not just, with radio, you can hear other people who call in and you go, oh, I hear what they said. Maybe I want to call in, but you didn't have the immediate chatting capability. And I think the chat rooms, we had the IRC, the forums, we had all sorts of things, but now with the chat rooms and all this stuff, I love it. And I love the fact that everybody gets to talk to each other. You get to talk, we all talk to each other. I think that's the importance of it. right? I mean, unless you don't like that player.
I thought you were asking all of them. Obviously, I love that. It's excellent. I think it's wild how we have this kind of two-way but kind of one-way conversation on the internet, right?
Yeah.
And then we do live shows and we meet people in person who have been listening to us for years and communicating with us through a chat room. And we get to share a drink and talk about things, and it's really special that we've been able to see the same 30 of you here every week live for just years at this point.
I have one memory I have to bring up. It's a couple of years, several years. We went to New York City, and we were invited by a theater director there who was doing a number of theater productions related to he wanted to involve science, and we got ourselves to New York City and did live shows in New York City.
That was so fun. That was amazing.
So fun. And we saw, people came, and afterwards we hung out at there was a bar above, and we hung out with people who came to the city or lived in the city. There was another time with another place with a bunch of people. It was Baltimore doing a live show. We got to hang out with
Baltimore
people.
was great.
Baltimore
Actually, my
was
favorite,
great.
I think, Portland was a lot of fun. I got to meet more of the Minions at the Portland show, I think, than anywhere else. That was a really good one. The Rose
Portland was big.
But I think my not the venue, but I think the best time I had was in Santa Fe.
Santa Fe was great. That was a wild experience.
Yeah, the Meow Wolf was there. I went off I took off onto some ranch out in the middle of the desert in the after.
I thought you were gonna die, Justin. Yeah, I really thought that was the story of how you died.
I went in a car with a bunch of people I just met out into the middle of the desert and had a wonderful time.
You had a life-changing experience with strangers.
I really truly was
staring at the sky in the desert.
And that was the last time we saw Justin.
It was a bunch
I was like,
okay.
You almost missed your flight.
No.
Yes. Yes. You were texting us saying, you guys might have to leave for the airport without me. You didn't have a way to get back from the middle of the desert. Do you not remember this?
Because there's a van. There's a shuttle service that goes from Santa Fe to Albuquerque.
I gotta take this.
No.
I'm trying to tell you a story about you, you weirdo.
He's got calls. He's got family. He's got people. And, if we wanted to act, we could actually end the show, if he would sit down to finish it. But he's like, I got to get this. I'm going to be staring at the sky in Santa Fe, New Mexico, in the middle of the desert, thinking about, human habitats and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then he went out there with somebody in their private car who was not planning on returning to the main area of Santa Fe anytime soon, and so he had no way to return.
No way!
I do believe he tried to call a lift.
I think
he had to try to coax a lift to pick him up in the middle of this commune. Oh my goodness.
That year, we had interviewed Sean Carroll many times, and I'd met his wife, Jennifer Wallett, who's also a science writer. And that year was the year I got to hang out with Sean Carroll, the theoretical physicist. Oh my gosh! Towel Marshall is here.
He's like, you're still doing it. Do you remember when we did it wasn't quite 21 hours, but it was 2 8-hour days of chatting at Philadelphia.
Yeah, it was like a
it was a STEM
festival, and it had come around because of links to some of the Lego con, they have these Lego building festivals, and so related to those, and I think I'm still connected to the guy who developed those festivals, the STEM festivals, the one that we went to in Philadelphia. But it was really
anyway,
yeah, we didn't know what we were in for and how it was going to turn out. But yeah, it was long days of filling 8 hours a day.
And some of it was just shooting it, and some of it was
and it's
interviews, and some of it was like, hey, random person on the conference floor, what are you doing here?
What are you doing? Oh yeah, come on over and talk to us. Tell us why you're here. Let's talk about it. We talked to kids who were doing like robotics and like cool Lego building things, and I don't know. We talked to scientists and makers and so many different people.
And then there was the other time we went to the entomology conference in Denver, which I think about all the time because we were put in an auditorium that I think would have held like 300 people.
It was huge.
And so I think we had a fine turnout for a lunch hour, but because it was in this giant auditorium, it felt like there was no one there.
Nobody there.
So we were
I was like, oh my gosh, there's like, there's nobody here. It was a big empty auditorium, but we were recording it, and it was the podcast, and those episodes are out there with amazing entomologists who actually have gone on to do some really cool things in their science and science communication careers. I think one of the women that we interviewed, she went on, the Queer Eye, the show, and there's like the new guy that kind of has the long hair, and he's like,
oh sure, yeah.
And he went and did his own show, which is like, curiosity and finding. But anyway, she like shared bugs with him, and
that's cool.
Yeah, I was like, that's really awesome. But there were some good ones. What's the wildest TWIS guest interview ever? Like the story. I think they're all different for various reasons. Wild is, when you don't know what to expect. There are the bad ones where it's like, ugh, I realize 1 second into the interview that this person is not going to talk, and we're doing a talk show, and it's like pulling words out of their mouth holes. Yeah, there were those. We ended up interviewing what's his name? Brian. I'm blanking on his last name.
Everyone's a Brian with you today.
I know everybody's Brian. He does the dog research and stuff at I think Duke University. Brian dogs. Let me see if I can find Brian Hare. Look at that. So we had interviewed Brian. I'd interviewed Vanessa Woods, his wife, like early in my, like during Dr. Kiki's Science Hour on Twit. And she was doing bonobo research, which was really awesome. And I really, really loved talking to her. And she was great. And she's like, she's talking to my husband, Brian, blah, blah. He used to do the primate research with me, but now he does other stuff. And then he came on early in TWIS stuff. And it was fine. We had fun. Several years ago, like it might have been during the pandemic. I don't know. We had the longest, most fun conversation with Brian. It was like a 3.5 hour long TWIS episode and mostly interview. It was awesome. It was so great. I think one of the big ones, though, the big weird ones was when we were interviewing James Watson. And, it was right. He'd published a book, and it was like right then that like a whole bunch of stuff came out about how awful he was, that we didn't really know because nobody was ever talking about
I remember
it.
that now. Yes. Yep. That was rough.
Yeah. And, we had the book. We were good.
Yeah.
Maybe it was, I thought we interviewed him. Maybe we didn't actually interview
We
him.
interviewed somebody that ended up hitting the news like 2 weeks later.
And I Yeah, there were a
Let me see.
few.
James
That was
Watson? I'd recognize
that
him
was
if I saw
early.
him.
We were at the radio station still when
Oh,
that
so there
when
was
that
someone
happened. Of course.
recently where this happened.
Yeah.
How can you know? You can't do anything about it, you know?
If you don't know, you don't know until after. But if you know and you make the choice to still platform that Lawrence Krauss. I think that might have been the one, John. Yeah. Yeah, but I think that's the thing is, you invite and you want to talk about things because you hear these people are cool, but there's a lot of I do a lot of introspection into and this is definitely something I've learned over the years about the importance of thinking about who I want to talk to about a topic and why. And just because somebody is well published, does that mean they are the best person? And specifically, recently, crazily, there's like a study that came out analyzing the success rate on the careers and the fields of people who are like big in a particular field. Like you pick like, oh, this person at MIT, they have a massive lab, got lots of funding, and they pushed this particular field forward, game changer kind of person. Turns out those people actually more often than not are not the people who actually change the game. And they're really good at sensationalism and PR. And the people who work in their labs early on during the curiosity and innovation period benefit from being a part of it. But later on, when the lab is a mechanism and a machine, the later students, grad students, postdocs, everyone involved, actually their careers suffer from the fact that they are working in labs of people who are at like these big forefront innovators. And it's the people who work slowly and innovatively and iteratively based on other people's discoveries. And so they had these graphs of looking at the fields. So if you take like nanotechnology or whatever, nano, blah, 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 and there's a big peak, but then it drops and there's nothing else. But the things that actually go on to shift everything are these long upward curves. And the people who are involved in those labs, they never get all of the fanfare. They don't get to be the people who everyone's excited about. But they do big things.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly think it's once upon a time, this is the person writing the book. This is the person doing the big thing. Blah, blah, blah. I want to talk to people who are iterating. I want to talk to people who are in the trenches and making changes and really, really thinking creatively about how things are going to go.
Well, I look
That's what I
forward
like.
to being a safe haven for science in the coming years.
Yeah.
I hope we don't have to have scientists on in masks because they don't want to be recognized. We'll see. But we can have unnamed scientists on the show if we need to.
We can. Absolutely.
He's a voice
I can
modulator.
I can have anybody on this show. I'll be like, look at you, Blair. You're a scientist.
Yeah, there you go.
Look at you. Look at you.
Here I
You're a
am.
scientist. You're here. You're a scientist. A zoologist.
Meanwhile, Justin is not.
And if he would just come back, I don't know. Maybe it's time.
Yeah, I think so.
And I don't know when he's going to come back. It does feel lonely, right? Where did he go? When's he going to come back? Did we have any other? I'll think about if we've had any. We didn't have wild interviews. I kicked Justin too much for that. We had great ones. There's lists and lists and lists of interviews and people. And I don't know, someday I would love to be able to dig into what we've got in our archive and put it together.
Absolutely.
Put it together for people. Okay. Yeah. Gonzo is so gone. His blue socks are no more. And he wasn't even doing a beer an hour tonight. But it is time. We've done enough reminiscing and digging in. And oh my gosh, Blair, I now am really going to tell everybody that you created Karen. Unapologetically. And for everyone out there, there's so much that is still out there. You can find it, you can listen, you can explore our past, and going back to the past will give you perspective in the now. There are stories that we've covered for 2 decades, for a quarter of a century, that are bearing fruit now that we never thought that they would, that are doing things differently. It's amazing. 1,000 episodes. It's time to be done. Thank you for listening. I really hoped everyone enjoyed this predictive and reminiscent show. As usual, of course, we got to give the shout outs to Fada. Thank you for all the work that you've done for episode after episode after episode in the show notes, the social media, helping to get us out there in a way people can understand. And I really appreciate your efforts there. Gord, Arnlore, you've been manning those chat rooms, among others. But thanks for helping with that and for being a part of our audience for so long, part of our community for so long. And everyone within this audience who's been with us for years, like I said earlier, just thank you for joining us and for being with us for so many years. There are many of you who've grown up with us, like we said earlier. Thank you very much. And I honestly don't know how to thank you for being a part of my life in this way, of our lives. Rachel, thank you for editing the show. You've joined us recently, but it's so good to have you here. And Identity 4, you have been such a huge supporter, and we've gotten to meet on a few occasions, and it's just wonderful having you be such a dedicated person to being here on night after night. And I'm sorry we're keeping you up so late tonight. Patrick Pecoraro, I'm sorry that you stayed up this late for TWIS tonight, but I'm also glad that you did. Thank you for being here. And I'm only saying that because I'm hoping for that invitation to, the NASA facility at some point in the future. Maybe. Exactly. Yes, we got to meet in IRL at some point too. And honestly, the thing that's been keeping that apart is a lot of the distance between all of the hosts of the show. So perhaps that's one of the experiments or attempts that we may make. 2025, 2026. Let's try to do things. No promises, just hopes. Inspiration, no expectation. I don't know, whatever you say. But I guess the final thing is when I really, really say thank you to our Patreon sponsors. Our Patreon sponsors are those of you who have decided to support us on a monthly or on a yearly basis and help us through all this. And we have new sponsors every year or every month. Dana Lewis is a new sponsor or a patron here. We also have patrons who have been with us since 2013, which is amazing. Some of you have been and canceled and whatever, but you're here when you can and just everything. And we have people who are giving the amount that I've said is the amount that I say thank you for. But there are free patron community members as well. There are people who give $1. There are people who do what they can. Thank you so much. Thank you, TWIS patrons. Thank you, Dana Lewis, Eden Mundell, Alan Viola, Aaron Anathema, Kara, Arthur Kepler, Craig Potts, Mary Gertz, Teresa Smith, Richard Badge, Bob Coles, Ken Northcote, George Corus, PR, Velazarb, John Radaswamy. I see you. I saw Aaron. You're all right there. Chris Wozniak, Vegard Shefstad, Donathan Stiles, aka Don Style, Ali Coffin. I hope you're doing great in Nebraska. Shoebrew, Sarah Forfar, Don Mundis, PIG, Stephen Alberon, Daryl Mychak, Andrew Swanson, Fredus 104, Sky Luke, Paul Ronovich, Kevin Reardon. You were here at one point. Noodles. There you are. I see you. Jack, Brian Carrington, Derry Vinny, Youngblood, Sean Clarence Lamb, John McKee, Greg, Riley, Mark, Hessenflow, Steve Leesman, aka Zima, Ken Hayes. You're in Sacramento somewhere, right? Howard Tan, how are you? Christopher Rappin, Richard, Brendan Minish, Johnny Gridley. Get your butt out of San Francisco. Come visit Portland. Remy Day, G. Burton Lattimore, flying out. I know you're here too. Christopher Dreyer, Greg Briggs. Someday I will actually make my way to Idaho. Yes. John Atwood, Dave Wilkinson, Rodney Lewis, Paul, Philip Shane. Thank you for all of your time, Philip Shane. It's been great seeing you in New York. Kurt Larson, Craig Landon, Sue Doster, Jason Olds, Dave Neighbor, Eric Knapp. I hope Alaska's great. Lon Makes, I know you're here in the chat room someday, or maybe, I don't know, you had to get up early. Maybe you're not here anymore. EO, Adam Mishkan. We're good. Kevin Parachan, Aaron Luthen, Bob Calder, Marjorie, thanks for being here. Paul Disney, thank you. Patrick Pecoraro, thank you. And Tony Steele. Thank you to all of our Patreon sponsors, because we can't do this without you. And your support is the thing that really helps us going. So if any of you are here and you'd like to get in on it and help support us on Patreon, go to TWIS.org and click on that Patreon link. And if you do $10 or more a month, I will thank you in that list, like I just read. And yeah, Patrick, I can get on Discord now. Somehow I fixed it. I don't know how. I don't know. You push the buttons and eventually something works. I wrote Shakespeare. This was 1,000 episodes. Oh my goodness, Blair.
Yes. On next week's show, we will be doing episode 1001. Who knows what we will do, what we will discuss, or how things will look. But we'll be here Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific time, broadcasting live from Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook channels. Do you want to listen to us as a podcast? Perhaps while you count from 1 to 1,000. Just search for This Week in Science wherever podcasts are found. If you enjoyed the show, get your friends to subscribe too. For more information on anything you heard here today, some show notes will be available from this week. It's spotty at best. We didn't do a lot of actual science news, but there are some links that you can explore. And that's at www.twis.org. You can also sign up for a newsletter that, who knows, maybe in 2025, it'll be our year. We'll boost up that newsletter again. We love your feedback. If there's a topic you would like us to cover or address, a suggestion for an interview, please let us know on one of our social media accounts, or as previously discussed, just send us an email. Just be sure to put TWIS, TWIS, in the subject line, or your email will be spam filtered into 2045. And, we might get there, but we might not. We look forward to discussing science with you again next week. And if you've learned anything from the show, remember, you're muted.
This week in science. This week in science. This week in science. This week in science, it's the end of the world. So I'm setting up shop, got my banner unfurled. It says the scientist is in, I'm gonna sell my advice. Show them how to stop the robots with a simple device. I'll reverse global warming with a wave of my hand. And all it'll cost you is a couple of grand. 'Cause this week's science is coming your way. So everybody listen to what I say. I use the scientific method for all that it's worth. And I'll broadcast my opinion all over the earth. 'Cause it's This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 This Week in Science. This Week in Science. This Week in Science. 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 I've got one disclaimer and it shouldn't be news. That what I say may not represent your views. But I've done the calculations and I've got a plan. If you listen to the science, you may just understand.
Oh, I don't really want to challenge your philosophy, but maybe I really want to make you consider it a little, maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Justin said earlier that 1,000, we could use M. So maybe from here on, the episodes are M1, M2, M3, with maybe that kind of notation, because the numbers are getting big. It's a lot.
Yeah, I know. Silly.
Yeah. Everyone, I don't know where Justin went. He's got something going on, apparently. And, this is part of the new. in the acceptance and the resilience and the experimentation and moving it all forward. Thank you, Gaurav. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of this community. I mean, all of you right here. The comments, the questions, the intelligence, the curiosity. Let's keep it moving because if we don't, people will turn into weird brains in a dish that don't do critical thinking as well as AIs do. So we got to work on that. Yeah. All right, Blair.
Yeah.
You stayed up an hour and 11. Oh, 11. Everyone make a wish, right? Isn't that like the whole astro?
Where do I begin?
It's like, oh, 11. It's only twice a day. I'm making a joke. It's time to go to bed. I hope everybody, I'm sorry you have a sick family member, Fada. And everyone out there, let's make geek jokes. Let's find new ways to look at stuff and let's do more talking and having fun together. I look forward to more, Blair.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be a blast. Who knows where we'll be this time next year, you know?
Maybe Mars or Venus or I don't know. Maybe
Canada.
Portland. Yeah, no. Don't move. Don't give up.
No.
I'm not letting people come into my house and mess it up. Anyway.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
It's messed. I don't know what to tell you.
It's messed and they got to clean it up. Anyway, I'm not going to say things anymore. So say goodnight, Blair.
Good night, Blair. Say goodnight, Kiki.
Good night, Kiki.
Say good morning, Justin, wherever you are.
Oh my gosh. Right. Wherever you are. Good night, Moon.
Yeah.
Good night, Justin. Good night, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us and being here for our 1000th episode for reals this time. We'll be back again next week. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay curious, and stay lucky. We'll see you next week. Good night.